Chapter 131. Sim City in a remote alley. Damn it. Why are you chasing me so closely? A student with a buzz cut hid in this place in a panic. After he got a token, he was ecstatic, thinking that he could smoothly advance to the top 16, and he just had to wait for the end of the game. But he didn't expect that, after getting the token, it was the beginning of the nightmare. Because this token has a locator system, every hour it will send a signal to other places, letting other contestants know that the token is in his hands. If that's the case, he can avoid the pursuit of other students as long as he changes his position every once in a while. After all, the locator on the token doesn't always send a signal. The people nearby can only know the location of the token an hour ago, which also gives him some time to escape. Before, it was with his ability to quickly move, cautious character, and superb acting ability that he had been avoiding the contestants who came to attack him and was safe and sound until now. But who would have thought that he would encounter a person who was chasing him? No matter how he fled, he kept following him like a hound, and he couldn't get rid of the other party's tracking. Whiz. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of the student with a buzz cut, blocking his way. This person was Xiaoping. The locator of his tracking watch, coupled with the 10,000 miles tracking technique, captured the smell of the other party and finally blocked this person in the alley. Kid, don't go too far. The student with a buzz cut gritted his teeth and stared at Xiaoping. You have been chasing me for a long time. Don't think that I dare not deal with you. The reason why you can still stand now is that I am worried that you will attract others. If you know what's good for you, get out of here immediately. Don't get in the way here. Although I can't kill people during the game, it's still possible for me to make you a third-level disabled person. Even if the referee wants to rescue you, it's too late, you know? He threatened Xiaoping with a grim face, squeezing his fists, and his bones crackled. In fact, he is also quite confident. He is a cultivator who has the 8th heavenly layer of martial arts. Even among many contestants, he is extremely powerful. If it's just to deal with one person, it's not a problem at all. Who said I'm alone? Xiaoping looked at the student with a buzz cut contemptuously. After a few claps, he clapped his hands. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, silhouettes appeared in front and behind the alley. Some jumped over the wall, some jumped out of the windows of the nearby buildings, and some came from the entrance of the alley. They came in all sorts of ways. These people surrounded the alley in an instant. There seemed to be at least 100 of them. Moreover, each of these people exuded a powerful aura as they stared at the buzz-cut student like hungry wolves. Seeing this shocking scene, the buzz-cut student's face turned green. He trembled and said, "You've gone too far. We agreed to have a one-on-one fight. Why did you bring so many people here? You're breaking the rules, you know? If you have the guts, let's fight one-on-one." He was so scared that he retreated again and again, and his legs were trembling because there were too many people on the other side. There were hundreds of people, and each of them was at least a powerhouse in the 7th heaven of martial arts. If these people swarmed him, he would be beaten to a pulp with just a few punches. How could he be a match? However, how did this bastard manage to gather so many people, and they even listened to his orders? Didn't they say that the schools were full of competition and it was impossible for them to work together? One-on-one. Yes, it is indeed a one-on-one. Xiaoping disdainfully said, "It's you alone against a group of us. Choose. Do you want to give up the token and be beaten by us for half an hour? Or do not give up the token and be beaten by us for 30 minutes? What he liked most was to bully others with more people. One-on-one. Did he really think he was stupid? Shameless. The buzz-cut student was mad. Doesn't that mean I have to be beaten by you if I don't give up the token? Is there such a choice? You are too wicked and inhumane. Also, don't think that I haven't read a book. Can't I hear you secretly change your words? 30 minutes and half an hour are the same. Don't think I'm an idiot. Where was this a choice? It was clear that he wanted to beat him up by relying on the number of people. He was very angry. Yes, it's all the same. No matter what, you have to be beaten up. Who told you to waste so much of my time running around and don't know how to obediently hand over the token? This is an education of love. Xiaoping thought that this approach was full of benefits for him and a kind of sharpening. Education my ass. Everyone was a student, a peer, and he actually wanted to educate him. Did he really think he was a teacher? Even if he was arrogant, he should stop. The buzz-cut student was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Go to hell. As soon as the voice fell, the buzz-cut student rushed over like a tiger and leopard, extremely fierce, showing the powerful martial arts cultivation of the eighth heaven of martial arts. A punch came, bursting out with a huge force of thousands of pounds, with a whistling wind, extremely amazing. He thought very clearly. To catch the thief, first catch the king. This Xiaoping in front of him was the boss of this group. If he could subdue this guy, he might be able to use him as a bargaining chip and quickly escape. Dare to resist? If the tiger doesn't show its power, I'll be a sick cat. Xiaoping's eyes showed a trace of cold light, and he suddenly made a move. Boom! The fist and the palm collided with each other, and a loud noise broke out on the spot. Ah! The buzz-cut student screamed. He felt an unparalleled force passing through, extending from his fist to his arm inch by inch, and even penetrating into his internal organs. The whole person had no resistance, and he was blasted out, directly smashing out more than 10 meters. The people behind also knew this situation and stepped aside. Immediately, the buzz-cut student was smashed into a mess, and several of his ribs were broken. How can he be so strong? The buzz-cut student coughed up blood and looked at Xiaoping in horror. He didn't expect that this kid looked so weak, but he was so powerful. The power of this palm alone was like a flood breaking the dam, completely above him. Drag him down and beat him for half an hour. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, and he didn't intend to answer the student's words at all. He was just a defeated opponent. How could he be qualified to ask him? Yes. A group of lackeys rushed forward like wolves and tigers, beating up the buzz-cut student. No, don't hit me. I surrender, I really surrender. The buzz-cut student let out a shrill scream, as if his innocence was seized by a demon in his sleep, and his chrysanthemum was punctured. Boss, this is the token. Lackey Han Shan immediately took the token from the buzz-cut student and respectfully handed it to Xiaoping, without the slightest greed in his eyes. Because there were few people who tried to snatch the token before, but before they could take a few steps, they were caught by Xiaoping. One could imagine their fate, and their screams probably resounded through the whole city. Very good, get 2 more, and all the nearby tokens will be ours. Chapter 132. Time passed in the blink of an eye, and night fell. The news of Xiaoping leading a group of people to beat up students and snatch tokens spread like wildfire, causing countless students in the simulation city to be incomparably terrified. Have you heard? A bully is running amok in the qualifiers, gathering hundreds of people to deal with those who got the token. I also heard that those who got the token were beaten so badly, it was as if they had undergone plastic surgery. They were unrecognizable. Damn, didn't they say that students in different schools don't know each other? How did that kid gather so many people? Could it be that this kid's charisma is off the charts, and with a shout, a bunch of people will bow their heads and worship him? Worship your ass. Some people guess that the bully Xiaoping must be a young master with a deep background and a very rich family. Before the competition, he bribed the top students of various universities to help him. What the hell? Isn't this cheating? To do such a thing, if you have money, why don't you bribe me? Who told him to be rich and powerful? We can't do anything to that bastard. However, the most shameless ones are those lackeys. All of them have low moral standing, without the slightest bit of dignity as a martial artist. They're the most ferocious in beating people up. They are so ruthless. That's right. Lackeys are the most despicable. For that little bit of money, they actually bend their knees to others and become lackeys, loyal and devoted. Don't they know how to constantly strive for self-improvement? Don't talk about them like that. Maybe those people are sick. Those bastards definitely won't have a good ending. Sooner or later, someone will take care of them. A group of students discussed animatedly. They were extremely sad and indignant. All of them hated the bully Xiaoping, and at the same time, hated those lackeys who helped the tyrant even more. After all, that bastard Xiaoping only gave the order, but the real ones were those lackeys. I also heard from the contestants from Zhengda High School and 88 High School that Xiaoping is a famous bully in their area, and everyone has the right to punish him. A student gritted his teeth. He is a little tyrant in school, bullying men and women, extorting good people. Who knows how many students have been killed by him, and they curse him behind his back. What's more hateful is that he likes to play with women. I don't know how many female high school students have been harmed by him. I heard that more than a dozen of them are pregnant. Those girls want to have an abortion, but he won't pay. He also revealed a lot of gossip that he had heard from other people. Beast. Hearing this, a student was dumbfounded. It's fine if he plays with women, but how can he be such a scumbag? Didn't they say that he's a nouveau riche? So what if he's a tycoon? It's not like I haven't seen stingy tycoons before. Another student said disdainfully, I heard that some of his lackeys worked for him and made great contributions. They were rewarded with a cup of instant noodles. What the F***? He can even bring out a cup of instant noodles? Is he still human? And this was a great contribution. He's squeezing his employees dry, squeezing out their marrow. Damn vampire, Jobapi. But those lackeys were also strange. They were all ecstatic, as if they had gotten a great deal. That bastard's method of training his lackeys is too brilliant. I wouldn't believe it if he said it wasn't inherited from his family. What a terrifying family descendant. How can he be so powerful? Many students were dumbfounded. They couldn't imagine who would be ecstatic with a cup of instant noodles as a reward. They couldn't imagine such a scene. If we want to deal with this bastard, it's impossible to rely on us alone. We must join forces with experts. A student suggested. Someone immediately said, don't worry. Someone has already started to contact the students of Tianshui City's #1 high school. I think they will personally take action and call for help. At that time, this bully Xiaoping's fate will definitely be miserable. A group of people gritted their teeth, wanting to beat up Xiaoping's group. At night in the villa, the Xia family army, who had been fighting around the simulation city, beating up students and snatching tokens, had also returned. They had worked hard all day and were holding a banquet in the villa. In order to reward these lackeys for their hard work today, Xiaoping decided that each person could get 3 cups of instant noodles, 2 hams, and a bag of potato chips. They could also drink whatever they wanted. There was a reason why he was so generous. This time, not only did he defeat many students, he also snatched back 4 tokens. It could be considered a huge harvest. Everyone has worked hard today, Xiaoping said to everyone. Without everyone's encirclement and interception, I wouldn't have been able to snatch 4 tokens. This credit belongs to me and everyone else. Of course, I won't go back on my word. I only want 1 token. The remaining 3 belong to you. He threw out a big pie. When everyone heard this, they were all incomparably excited. Wasn't the reason why they worked so hard to obtain the tokens? And now, they finally had such an opportunity. Big brother. Before Xiaoping could say how to distribute the tokens, Han Shan, who was monitoring the surroundings outside, immediately ran over. His expression was very strange as he said, Someone is looking for you outside. Someone is looking for me? Who is it? Xiaoping looked at Han Shan. Han Shan hesitated for a moment and said, It's a student from Xiaolan High School. What? Everyone was shocked. Xiaolan High School students. Wasn't it the famous female school in Skywater City? This school was famous for being a noble female school, and everyone there was a young lady. Usually, these young ladies were hidden deep in their boudoirs, and it was not easy to see them, but now they actually appeared here. Xiaolan High School students. Xiaoping touched his chin. Interesting, let them come in. Yes, big brother. Han Shan immediately went down. Not long after, 5 or 6 women immediately came in from outside the villa. Each of them had a beautiful figure, and their bodies exuded the temperament of a lady from a noble family. If they were placed in any big school, they would all be beauties and could be regarded as the class belle. However, one of the women was extremely beautiful, and her body exuded a different temperament. It could be said that she was a crane in a flock of chickens, as if the light of the stars in the world had gathered on her body. Nan Gongwu. Everyone was shocked as they stared at the woman in the lead. Impressively, it was the #1 expert of Xiaolan High School, known as the Princess of Skywater City, Nan Gongwu, the dream goddess of countless men. They did not think that they would actually meet Nangong Wu in this place. Oomph, a group of stinky men. A woman in blue disdainfully looked at the surrounding gazes, as if she was very disgusted that so many men's gazes were gathered on them. Her heart was very unhappy. The other women from Shillong High School were the same, but they still endured it, because this time they came here with a request. You are Xiaoping. Chapter 133. That's right, I'm Xiaoping. What business do you have here? Xiaoping sized up Nangong Wu. She was indeed worthy of being called the princess of Tianshui City. Her figure was alluring, her figure was hot, and her appearance was extremely beautiful. Especially her legs. They were so slender that it made one's hair stand on end. Furthermore, her body exuded a noble temperament, like a white swan, giving people a different sense of conquest. When ordinary men saw her, they would probably feel that she was unattainable and unapproachable. I heard that you plundered the nearby areas of food and didn't leave any behind. Nangong Wu's beautiful eyes looked at Xiaoping indifferently. Our purpose here is very simple. We just want you to share some of your food. She was very direct and did not plan to hide her purpose of coming this time, which was to eat. Goo goo. At this moment, the stomachs of a few girls from Shillong High School immediately sounded out. Their pretty faces immediately turned red like a piece of rag, and they simply wanted to immediately dig a hole and bury themselves. As a young miss, she was usually elegant, so when did others hear the sound of her stomach being hungry? But there was nothing they could do. The food in the nearby areas had been looted clean by this bastard Xiaoping. Even the students in the other areas had heard the news and were afraid that someone would follow suit. So they actually emptied the food and completely hid. In this way, it was almost impossible for them to find any food nearby. They had been hungry for a full 2 days, and if it wasn't for their strong martial arts cultivation, they would have long been unable to bear it. As a last resort, even if these girls from Shillong High School were unwilling, they still had to come to Xiaoping for help, hoping that he would give them some food, unless they wanted to be immediately eliminated. Give me some food, Xiaoping laughed. I painstakingly obtained food. Why should I give it to you? He just looked at Nangong Wu and the others, condescendingly. His eyes were very cold. What do you mean by painstakingly obtained food? It was clearly you who had evil intentions and plundered all the food in the nearby supermarket. That's why this happened. A blue-clothed girl said angrily. Another red-clothed girl also gritted her teeth. You got so much food, so what if you give us some? It's not like you'll lose a piece of meat. That's right. If you give us food and obtain our friendship, there will definitely be great benefits for you. Such an opportunity, and you still don't grasp it. Are you stupid? If I miss this village, I won't have this shop anymore. The girls from Shillong Middle School glared at Xiaoping with arrogant expressions. Even though they were half dead from hunger, they wouldn't let go of their arrogance. To them, asking for food was giving the other party a lot of face. It was a reward. It doesn't matter if I have ill intentions or if I obtain it easily. In any case, what's mine is mine. You want me to hand it over easily? Do you think there's such a good thing in the world? Xiaoping said disdainfully. You guys are used to being rich young ladies living a life of stretching out your hands and opening your mouth for food. Do you think that just by saying something, people will come to your door and give you food? Aren't you guys a little too arrogant? Your parents will spoil you, but I won't. He planned to teach these young ladies some social principles. Hearing this, the girls from Shillong Middle School were all furious. When had they ever met such a man who was so rude to them? Normally, when they went out, which man wasn't at their beck and call? Which man didn't flatter them? They were afraid that they would suffer even the slightest grievance. But now, they personally came to his door to ask for food. They were so proactive, but this bastard didn't give them any face. He even said that he wouldn't spoil them. Who did this shameless man think he was? All right, don't talk. Nangong Wu stopped the other girls from talking. She looked at Xiaoping and said, I also know that there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. If you want to get something, you have to pay the price. Tell me, what do you want in order to give us some food? Her beautiful eyes were very calm, but her words contained a strong tone. She didn't show any humble emotions, just because she asked for food. It seemed that no matter what happened, it wouldn't be able to move her. Seeing this, Han Shan and the others all admired her. As expected of the princess of Tianshui City, she had the demeanor of a noble. She didn't show her emotions and was very shrewd. Even if she asked for help, she wouldn't be passive. Since your name is Nangong Wu, then it means that you know how to dance? Xia Ping rubbed his chin and said his request. How about you dance in front of me and make me happy? I'll give you some food. How about it? Impudent. As soon as he said that, a girl in red went crazy with anger. She glared at Xia Ping, as if she wanted to eat this bastard alive. The other girls were also like kittens that had their tails stepped on. They immediately went crazy. Who was Nangong Wu? She was the successor of the Nangong family, the princess of Tianshui City, and the pearl of Xilan High School. She could be said to be the proud daughter of the heavens, sacred and inviolable. Ordinary people couldn't even see her once. The number of people pursuing her could form a line from the east to the west of the city. Such a proud daughter of the heavens was simply a saintess. Who would dare to blaspheme her? But this bastard actually dared to ask Nangong Wu to dance in front of him. How impudent was this? If this matter were to be spread out, it would definitely cause an earth-shattering wave that would shake the entire family of Tianshui City. No, that's not right. This matter had already been spread out because in the entire Sim City, other than bedrooms, bathrooms, and other private rooms, all other places would have high-definition cameras installed. In other words, the scene just now and those words had already been broadcasted, and everyone in Tianshui City knew about it. Oh my god, this kid is crazy. Who is that girl? That's Nangong Wu, the princess of Tianshui City, the successor of the Nangong family, a proud daughter of the heavens. Too audacious. He actually dared to ask Nangong Wu to dance in front of him. He's courting death. This isn't audacity, this is lust. This bastard wants lust more than his life. He offended Nangong Wu, offended the Nangong family. How could he still have his life? It's not as simple as offending Nangong Wu. Those suitors behind her would probably all go crazy. He dares to blaspheme the goddess. This kid wants to die. This guy is finished. If he really let Nangong Wu dance in front of him, he'll probably be beaten up outside. I guarantee that no one would dare to call the police. Tianshui City won't tolerate him. Chapter 134. When Feng Hetong, Han Shan, and the others heard these words, they were also dumbfounded. They also knew that Xia Ping was fierce, but they didn't expect him to be this fierce. Especially Feng Hetong. His father was a member of Tianshui City, but he didn't dare to provoke the Nangong family. After all, the other party was a big family in Tianshui City with deep roots and many henchmen. But this kid, he didn't have any scruples at all. He actually asked Nangong Wu to dance for him. He was crazy. Even in his dreams, Feng Hetong had never thought of such a thing. Hearing this, Nangong Wu, who originally didn't have any expression, was shocked at this moment. She came from a big family, and since she was born, she began to receive elite education. Not to mention dancing, she could even play the piano, violin, and other musical instruments, and even the eru. She was also good at painting and singing. It could be said that she had both talents and could be called perfect, but just because she knew a lot didn't mean that she would show it. No one had ever dared to ask her to dance in front of her, let alone in front of a man. After all, she was the princess of the Nangong family. She didn't feel angry, nor did she feel angry, because this guy's words were too shocking. She had never heard of such things before. She only felt shocked and astonished. This kid actually dared to say such words to her. Was he courting death? Thinking of this, Nangong Wu looked at Xia Ping and said, "You want me to dance in front of you? Are you sure you can bear it?" Her beautiful eyes were very calm. This wasn't arrogance, but the truth, because there were countless people who pursued her from all the big families in Tianshui City. Almost every year, a large number of people came to ask for her hand in marriage, but they were all rejected by her. If she really danced in front of a strange man, this matter would probably cause a magnitude 3 earthquake in the entire Tianshui City. Countless suitors would wail in grief, causing resentment. And this Xia Ping would also suffer unprecedented pressure. Facing the covetous eyes of the big families in Tianshui City, perhaps no ordinary citizen would be able to bear it. Some things couldn't be done, and they had to pay the price. If you don't want to dance, then forget it. I won't force you. Xiaoping said indifferently. His tone was soft but firm. In this era, martial arts were flourishing and martial artists were respected. Powerful martial artists could shatter the void, block nuclear bombs with their bare hands, traverse the void, and break the earth with their fists. This was the era where martial artists were called gods. Even the federal government couldn't do anything to a martial artist who was so strong that he was a living god. Although the martial disciple realm was just a beginner, once they reached the martial disciple realm, their status would be completely different. They would have all kinds of privileges in the federal government, and no one would dare to act rashly. Even if the big families in Tianshui City had great power, they would not dare to casually deal with a venerable martial artist. This was a profession protected by the federal law. Just by going out, there would be a bunch of martial arts organizations wanting to recruit them. An annual salary of over $1 million was nothing to him. And Xiaoping is now a martial artist at the 9th layer, only one step away from breaking through to the martial artist realm. At that time, his status will be greatly improved, and no one in the entire Tianshui City would dare to touch him blatantly. He was even promoted to the martial artist realm at a young age. His potential was infinite, and he could casually join a huge martial arts organization. With a backer, these Tianshui City families were nothing. If he could continue to advance to the supreme martial arts realm, these families in Tianshui City could only look up to him. At that time, he would be a family by himself, and no one would dare to be presumptuous. Not to mention the princess of the Nangong family in Tianshui City. Even if it was the president's daughter, he would never look down on her. Since you dare to say such a thing, then I dare to jump, but I will only jump for you to see. Nangongwu was also stimulated by Xiaoping's tone. Since this man was so reckless, she would fulfill his wish. Not every man could withstand Nangongwu's dance. Once they saw it, they would pay a heavy price. Let's go into my room. There's an empty place there. Xiaoping made his own suggestion. He turned around and walked towards the villa without hesitation. Nangongwu's white teeth gently bit her red lips, and her beautiful eyes flashed with a glimmer of light. However, she was not willing to show weakness and followed Xiaoping. Soon, the two disappeared from everyone's sight. Miss Nangong, the girls from Shillong High School were all shocked. They never thought that Nangongwu would actually agree to this shameless man's request and dance in front of him. A dignified, noble, and elegant princess actually wanted to dance in front of a lowly, shameless, and dirty man. This was clearly obscene. Without a doubt, the entire Shillong High School and even the entire Tianshui City were greatly shaken because of this matter. But now, they had no way to stop it because this was something that Nangongwu had personally decided to do. No one could stop it, including them. Awesome. Big Brother's really awesome this time. He actually let Nangongwu dance for him. It's not as simple as dancing. The two of them even entered a room alone. A man and a woman alone. Who knows what will happen? Amazing. I'm completely convinced. How dare he do such a thing? Isn't he afraid of incurring public anger? Seeing this scene, many of the lackeys were dumbfounded. They didn't dare to believe their eyes. This woman was Nangongwu, the dignified princess of Tianshui City, not some KTV princess. There was a huge difference between the two. She couldn't dance just because she was paid. What is that guy afraid of? If he was really afraid, he wouldn't do such a thing. Han Shan was completely convinced now. Thinking about how he was a rich second generation with a family's assets of over $1 billion, compared to ordinary people, he still wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Even if he was given such a chance, he still wouldn't dare to do it. This was clearly courting death. He was still young and a virgin. He didn't want to die so early. If he can escape this calamity, so what if I really call him Big Brother? If this kind of person isn't Big Brother, who is Big Brother? Fatty Feng Hatong was also convinced. Previously, he still had a lot of resentment towards Xiaoping, but now, all of it had disappeared. Because this guy was simply a madman. He dared to do anything. That was the Nangong family. In Tianshui City, It could be said that they could cover the sky with one hand. Even Feng Hetong didn't dare to offend them. If he offended them in the slightest, his dad would probably personally break his legs and go to their door to apologize. But this guy actually asked the princess of the Nangong family to come out and dance for him. Only he could think of such a thing. Without a doubt, once this matter came out, he didn't even need to do anything. A large group of Nangong Wu's pursuers would come out and beat this bastard Xia Ping half to death. However, if he could withstand this calamity and survive, then that would be a little terrifying. Chapter 135. This scene was also broadcasted so that the audience in Tianshui City could see it clearly. Even the descendants of the major families were shocked. All of them were dumbfounded. Oh my God, this kid is crazy. He actually dared to ask the princess of the Nangong family to dance for him? How audacious. If he were to become the emperor, it would probably be the end of the dynasty. He's definitely a fatuous ruler who messed things up because of his beauty. I found out this guy is a student of Tianshui City's 95th high school. His family has been ordinary people for 18 generations. His father is a small urban management officer, and his mother is a street vendor. Awesome, this kid is awesome. Isn't this a toad on a white swan? And he didn't even pay. Sigh, his lower body is a waste of time. In order to have fun, he offended the Nangong family. His future is ruined. Many of the audience were discussing, and they were also shocked by such a scene. It was really shocking that Xia Ping's actions were simply unprecedented. However, for the ordinary audience, it was just a shock, but for those who pursued Nangong Wu, it was like a bolt from the blue, like a knife in the heart. That bastard is called Xia Ping, right? When the competition is over, I will hack him to death. What ability does he have, and what ability does he have to actually ask my goddess to dance for him? Goddamn Xia Ping. Everyone has the right to punish him, brazenly flirting with my goddess, shameless to the extreme. I have gathered more than 100 brothers. Everyone is determined to die. Count me in. If I don't tear this bastard into pieces, it will be difficult to calm the anger in my heart. A group of people clamored on the internet. Some even planned to pay the killer to hack this bastard Xia Ping to death. They would not rest until they took his head. Even in some forums, there were hundreds of posts that wanted to kill Xia Ping, with at least tens of thousands of replies, more than 1 million clicks, and the crowd was surging. Nangong Wu's popularity on the internet was too high. Her appearance was beautiful, her figure was first class, and she was born in the Nangong family. She was a natural princess, the most perfect goddess. She had great popularity on the internet, and in the past 3 years, she was chosen as the #1 woman who wanted to marry her. Such a goddess was blasphemed by a toad. Who could bear it? When some of the family descendants found out about this, they also went crazy. They immediately logged into their communicators and discussed it in the group. Damn it, this dog Xia Ping actually dares to blaspheme my goddess. I went to the Nangong family to propose marriage and even entered the door, but this Xia Ping actually dared to let Nangong Wu dance for him. I want to tear this bastard's corpse into 10,000 pieces. This is a slap in the face, absolutely a slap in the face. So many of us from aristocratic families couldn't even get Nangong Wu, but a commoner got her. I can't take this lying down. When that bastard comes out, I'll get someone to beat him up. I guarantee he'll be half crippled. Many of the disciples of the various clans were discussing fervently. They were extremely angry. They didn't even have the qualifications to possess a woman like Nangong Wu. They hadn't even seen her face, but she was profaned by this shameless Xia Ping. Whether it was their dignity as a descendant of the family or their face as a man, they could not accept this kind of thing. In a VIP room in the Tianshui City's government center, a group of big shots also saw this scene. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many of the big shots' eyes were focused on a middle-aged man wearing a white suit. Their eyes were extremely strange because this middle-aged man was the Nangong family's patriarch, Nangong Hai, and Nangong Wu was his daughter. Many of the big shots were very self-restrained people. Even if they wanted to laugh in their hearts, they wouldn't casually say it. But this kind of strange gaze, this kind of strange atmosphere explained everything. On the surface, Nangong Hai didn't show it. He didn't even say a word. But his face was black, and at the same time, he clenched his fists. It could be seen how angry he was right now. But even so, he still endured it. The white-clothed old man in the conference center still didn't speak. He just quietly watched. At this time, in the villa's master bedroom, there were no high-definition cameras around. No one could see the situation inside the bedroom. In this place, there were only Xia Ping and Nangong Wu, a man and a woman alone in a room. Come, now that there are only the two of us, you can show your figure to your heart's content. Don't be shy. Xiao Ping touched his chin and looked at Nangong Wu in front of him. Worthy of being called the pearl of Shillong Middle School, these legs, this waist, this figure is really not covered. If she was a model, she would definitely be a first-class model. Nangong Wu was uncomfortable being stared at by this man, as if this bastard's eyes had a penetrating light. Seeing her whole body from top to bottom, it was extremely hateful. If you want to see me dance, then let's see if you have the ability. Nangong Wu snorted coldly, her beautiful eyes showing a trace of coldness, and she made a move and slapped with her palm. Nangong family's unique skill, fire cloud palm. Immediately, the whole room seemed to rise in a hot temperature, as if the air was burning, and her white jade-like palm contained terrible power. If it was hit by a palm, the whole rock would be torn apart. Although Nangong Wu is a woman, she is also a genius, and there is also the family training. She has already reached the peak of the ninth heaven of martial arts, and her strength is unknown. Those who can compare to her can be counted in the entire Tianshui city. Xiaoping had long been prepared. His spiritual force was always perceiving the surroundings. At the moment when Nangong Wu made a move, he also made a move, slapping with his palm and operating the Dark North Body Protection Art. Boom! Immediately, the two palms collided together, but Nangong Wu's fierce and unparalleled palm seemed to fall into a ball of cotton, and the fierce and unparalleled force was removed cleanly, and the whole room was set off by a gust of wind. What? Nangong Wu was shocked. Although her palm was not full strength, it still had 70% to 80% of its power, but this kid could resist it so easily. Miss Nangong, so that's how it is. Don't you want to dance alone? Do you want to invite me to dance with you? Xiaoping looked at Nangong Wu with a smile and reached out to hug her slender waist. One hand grabbing her hand and the other hand hugging her waist, this posture is like a ballroom dance. Go to hell. Nangong Wu's pretty face turned red, and a strange feeling welled up in her heart. This bastard is shameless and despicable. This man's big hand actually dared to touch her body and take advantage of her. She felt endless anger welling up in her heart. Boom! His left hand slapped again. The second style of fire cloud palm, fire snake spitting. Its angle was extremely tricky and ruthless, unpredictable, and extremely fast, like a poisonous snake, containing the power of extreme femininity, which was completely different from the previous fierce palm. If you are hit, it is estimated that even a strong external expert who is proficient in thwart kung fu can't resist it, and your lungs will be seriously injured. Chapter 136. Boom! Xiaoping didn't dodge and let Nangong Wu's palm hit him. Immediately, this palm broke out with a loud sound, and the terrifying Yin force penetrated in. But it still couldn't break the defense of Dark North Body Protection technique and was easily resisted. How was this possible? Nangong Wu couldn't believe it. Even the peak powerhouse of the ninth heaven of martial arts realm didn't dare to take her palm. One palm could seriously injure the other party, and even the stone would turn into powder. But this guy just took his palm strike head-on, and nothing happened to him. This was simply unimaginable. Asshole, I don't believe you are really that strong. Nangong Wu gritted her teeth, and with a whoosh, she kicked her foot, which was extremely fierce and contained the power of 10,000 pounds. Her slender waist contained explosive power, which was extremely amazing. Snake fist, python wrapping rabbit. With a whoosh, Xiaoping's hands rose up, and his whole person was like a python, wrapping around Nangong Wu's body, grabbing her hands and feet, and pressing her to the ground. The two were in close contact. Asshole, let go of me. Seeing Xiaoping's movements, Nangong Wu was shocked. She was actually so close to a strange man and took advantage of her like this. She tried with all her might to get out. But this snake fist is a supreme trick that imitates a python to strangle its prey and bind the enemy. The more the prey struggles, the more severely it is bound, and there is no way to escape at all. Just struggling for a few seconds, Nangong Wu was ashamed and angry, and immediately discovered that with her own strength, she couldn't escape from this bastard man at all. Xiaoping. Nangong Wu gritted her teeth and stared at Xiaoping with her beautiful eyes. What the hell do you want to do to me? Hurry up and get off me. She has never been so intimate with a man in her life, even the people in her family. Not to mention being pressed to the ground by a man like this. This scene is really too much. What do I want to do? What do you think? Xiaoping said with a smile. Now a man and a woman are alone in a room. What do you think I can do here? He looked up and down at Nangong Wu's figure with bad intentions. You. Immediately, Nangong Wu thought of the dangerous aspects of this man. The reason why she had fearlessly followed this man into this room was because she had absolute confidence in her own strength. No matter what happened, she was confident that she could guarantee her safety. But who would have thought that this bastard was even more powerful than she had imagined, subduing her in an instant? Even now, he was pressed to the ground, unable to move at all. It would be a piece of cake for this bastard to do anything to him. It was over. She had fallen into a wolf's den. I advise you not to act recklessly. As long as I scream loudly outside, someone will definitely come in and deal with you. Don't make a mistake. Nangong Wu bit her lips. Xiaoping didn't care at all. He just looked at Nangong Wu and said, "All right, go ahead and scream. Scream louder." Bastard. Nangong Wu was so angry that she almost died. Her face turned red. This guy had already seen through her weakness. If she were to shout, not to mention that no one would come in, her reputation would be ruined. The next day, there would definitely be a lot of rumors, and the Nangong family would be humiliated. Originally, after she entered the room, she would subdue this guy. To capture the thief, first capture the king. As long as she could control this bastard and threaten him, wouldn't it be easy to obtain food? But this bastard's strength was completely beyond her imagination. Even if she used the fire cloud palm, she was still no match for this man. She was even unscathed after taking a palm strike. If you do anything to me, the Nangong family won't let you go. Do you understand? Moreover, your actions are a crime. You will be arrested and put in jail. Nangong Wu patiently guided Xiaoping, hoping that he wouldn't go astray and let her go. Her pretty face turned red, and she twisted her graceful waist. But no matter what she did, this bastard's body was still firmly stuck to her. She couldn't break free no matter what. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. Xiaoping, haven't reached the point where I'm so hungry that I can't be choosy. Xiaoping smiled slightly and enjoyed Nangong Wu's expression, thinking about how this girl was so arrogant and aloof before, but now she was begging for mercy. This kind of expression was very interesting. Hungry that I can't be choosy. When Nangong Wu heard this, she went crazy with anger. She glared at Xiaoping, and there was no need to mention how angry she was. This wasn't arrogance, but what kind of person was Nangong Wu? She had countless pursuers and was known as the goddess of Shilong Middle School. There were a lot of people who admired her. But now, this bastard said that she wouldn't be choosy. Could it be that she, Nangong Wu, was so weak that she couldn't even look at this shameless person? If she could, she simply wanted to treat this Xiaoping like a meat bun and eat him raw. If you don't want to touch me, then immediately let me go. I will pretend that this never happened. Nangong Wu took a deep breath and barely stabilized her emotions. She regained her identity as the princess of the Nangong family. There's no hurry. I still need you to stay in the room for half an hour. Xiaoping looked at Nangong Wu and said, "After half an hour, I will let you out. I will even give you food." What? Hearing this, Nangong Wu was shocked. She didn't understand. She just wanted to stay in a room with him for half an hour, and she didn't need to dance. As a result, the other party gave her food. Could it be that the other party was afraid of the power of the Nangong family? Did he know that he was wrong now? But looking at this kid's appearance, he didn't look afraid at all. However, it was normal that she couldn't understand, because she couldn't imagine that Xiaoping had a super hatred system. The reason why Xiaoping designed this plan was just to use Nangong Wu's popularity to gain a lot of hatred points. Obviously, so far, the plan has been very successful. He could hear the sound of increasing hatred points from the system. If he waited for Nangong Wu to leave this room, he would probably get even more hatred points. When I get more hatred points, I can exchange for the second level of the Dark North Body Protection technique, or even the second level of the 7 Arrows technique. The more Xia Ping practiced, the more he knew the power of these two techniques. One was the Supreme Body Protection technique, and the other was the Supreme Hidden Weapon technique, which was extremely powerful. He didn't know how much combat power it had increased, enough to sweep away all his enemies. If there are still remaining hatred points, maybe I can exchange for some precious medicinal pills to help me break through to the martial warrior realm. Xiaoping's eyes flickered, thinking about the next step of the plan. Chapter 137. Half an hour later, Nangong Wu walked out of the room. Her pretty face was flushed red, and her beautiful eyes revealed a puzzled light. This was because in this half an hour, this man really didn't do anything to her. All he did was control himself and prevent himself from moving. Of course, this bastard would occasionally play some tricks to take advantage of her, but it was very different from when she imagined that she might lose her chastity this time. Big brother, you're out. Are you done? Hearing the sound of the villa room, Han Shan and the others immediately flew over. They were extremely curious and sized up Xiaoping and Nangong Wu, who had just walked out of the room. These people looked at Nangong Wu and Xiaoping with extremely strange expressions, as if they were gossiping about something. He had no choice but to gossip. After all, the two of them were alone in the room, so it was normal for something to happen. One of them was the princess of Tianshui City, the pearl of the Nangong family, so it was impossible for him not to be curious. Yes, it's done. I'm very satisfied with her service. Xiaoping nodded. Go over immediately and give them some food. Don't neglect them, understand? He put on a calm and collected look. Service? What kind of service was this? How could this stingy bastard be so generous? He even told them not to slight him. Han Shan and the others were stunned. Images that were not suitable for children kept appearing in their minds. Miss Nangong, are you all right? At this time, a group of girls from Shulon Middle School quickly ran up to Nangong Wu. At the same time, they looked at Xia Ping with vigilance, as if they were looking at a pest in the world. If not for the group of lackeys beside them, they would definitely have rushed up and beaten Xia Ping up. I'm fine. Nangong Wu's tone was indifferent. She took a step forward, and with a snap, she twisted her ankle and almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, she held onto the white wall beside her and didn't fall. Miss Nangong. A group of girls rushed forward and exclaimed. Nangong Wu glared at Xia Ping angrily. She was extremely embarrassed. Just now, it was this bastard who used too much strength and didn't move for almost half an hour. This caused the blood in her body to be impeded and her legs to be numb. That was why she couldn't stand steadily. Sorry, I was too strong just now. I'll be more careful next time. Xiaoping also recalled what had just happened. Next time? There will be no next time. Nangong Wu glared at Xiaoping with her beautiful eyes, as if saying, don't ever fall into my hands again. Otherwise, I'll definitely make you pay. She had completely remembered this grudge. She had never suffered such a loss before. Too much strength. Hearing these words, Han Shan and the others were all shocked to the point of dizziness, and their minds almost short-circuited. She was just entering the room to dance, so why did Xiaoping have to use so much force? What exactly did this bastard Xiaoping do to Nangong Wu? The expressions of some of the students immediately changed. They thought about it carefully and were extremely frightened. When they thought about Nangong Wu's appearance, expression, and movements, it seemed like they had imagined the truth. This scene was also clearly transmitted to thousands of households in Tianshui City by high-definition cameras. The netizens on some live broadcast platforms were all in an uproar and shocked, like boiling lava. It's over, it's over. My goddess is completely finished. She's been tarnished by this shameless Xiaoping. A netizen wailed on the internet, crying bitterly. He had suffered a great blow and wanted to jump off a building. However, There were also people who didn't believe it and shouted crazily, "Impossible! This kind of thing is impossible. This is an illusion. It must be an illusion. How could such a thing happen? Wake up, brother. What's done is done, and what's done is done." The two of them entered the room, and a man and a woman were alone in the room. That beauty was Nangong Wu, and they just casually danced, and the two of them were like dry wood and raging fire. Dry wood your face? Why did it get out of hand? Don't spread rumors here. This is not a rumor. Didn't you see how Nangong Wu looked when she came out? Her face was red, her forehead was sweating, and her body was weak. Even her legs were weak. You can imagine what happened. Big brother, you're an experienced person. You pay attention to the main point. Indeed, I can see it too. Although I don't have much experience, I have a lot of theoretical experience. I've seen countless movies, so there's nothing I don't know. That bastard also said that he used too much force. It was just Nangong Wu dancing. Why did this bastard use force? Where did he use force? It's terrifying to think about it. They even stayed in the room for half an hour. That's half an hour. There's a lot of room for imagination in that time. I'm not bragging, but I can do it 10 times in half an hour. The big brother above is awesome. Every 3 minutes. There's no one else who can describe impotence in such a fresh and refined way. Woo! How come my goddess fall into the hands of others like this? There's no justice in this world. Can this world be saved? Everyone, can you still be saved? Can a toad really eat swan meat or eat it for free? Countless netizens shed silk and carried out various theoretical analyses, speculating what happened in the room in half an hour. But the result was very shocking, making countless people wail and cry bitterly, especially when they imagined that a goddess like Nangong Wu fell into the hands of this bastard. It made countless men despair. Complain. I want to complain about this shameless man. He's still a high school student, and he's actually doing such a shameless thing on TV. When can you watch movies live on TV? Is there any relevant department to control it? It's too lawless. Although the picture doesn't show it, the fact is obvious. He's only a high school student, and he's already so absurd. How many women will be harmed by this beast when he grows up? He's already grown up. He's already 18 years old. How can he not grow up? He already knows how to play with women. I suggest the police immediately arrest this bastard Xiaoping, drag him to a labor camp for a few years, and lock him up with a group of gays. That's right, arrest him, and it's best to confiscate his tools. At this time, countless netizens were filled with righteous indignation and roared incessantly. All of them were full of hatred for Xiaoping, and they simply wanted to tear this bastard who blasphemed the goddess into pieces. Xiaoping had already provoked public anger and was cursed by countless people. He had become a street rat on the internet. In a VIP room in the government center of Tianshui City. When many big shots saw this scene, they were all speechless. Although they didn't think that Nangong Wu was so easily taken advantage of by Xiaoping, it was obvious that something had indeed happened in the room. When a woman stayed with a man, no matter what, the woman would always be at a disadvantage. And some big shots who had conflict with the Nangong family were even more gloating. After this matter spread, it was estimated that a lot of people would go to the Nangong family to propose marriage. Damn it. Chapter 138. The students of Wuwei Martial Arts Hall, Flying Pig Martial Arts Hall, and other martial arts halls, as well as the students of Tianshui City 95th High School, also saw this scene. All of them were extremely sad and indignant. Damn Xiaoping, he's not satisfied with the school bell. He even picked up the princess of Tianshui City, Nangong Wu. Nangong Wu, wake up. This bastard Xiaoping is a scumbag. He has stepped on more than a dozen boats. No, this is a bit wrong. Even if a woman is not reserved, she won't do that when they just met. I think these two guys have been having an affair for a long time. Indeed, I heard before that this Xiaoping is very skillful in picking up girls. His means are despicable, and he even uses drugs. Maybe Nangong Wu has already been poisoned by this bastard. Shameless. He can even do this kind of thing. Isn't he afraid of the Nangong family's revenge? This scumbag must want to cook the raw rice and make Nangong Wu pregnant, so that the Nangong family can't say anything. Even for the sake of face, they don't dare to say anything about this. What the F***CK? Doesn't this mean that the shameless Xiaoping will get what he wants and get both the money and the woman? This guess is very close to the truth. It must be that Xiaoping is eyeing the Nangong family's property, so he went to attack Nangong Wu. He even secretly drugged her and made her pregnant. How can he run away? Even if Nangong Wu is dissatisfied, she can only swallow her anger and compromise. As for the scumbag Xiaoping, he can obtain the Nangong family's wealth and squander it as he pleases. He can also go out to hook up with all kinds of women and strengthen his harem. Call the police. This is fraud. Cheating money is a crime. Why is cheating women not a crime? Does no one care about him? If such a person is in Tinshui City, how can the people live and work in peace and contentment? The police are simply a waste of our taxpayers' money. Yang Wei and others were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They simply wanted to catch Xiaoping and beat him up. How could they be convinced that this despicable and shameless bastard's plan succeeded? They watched helplessly as this scoundrel not only didn't get taught a lesson, but he even started to hook up with the Nangong family and was about to become the son-in-law of the Nangong family. He would inherit the Nangong family's wealth and reach the pinnacle of his life. All of them were furious. Why could such a scoundrel be so tyrannical and do whatever he wanted, flirting with all kinds of beauties, while honest people like them had to be bullied? That was really too unfair. The homeroom teacher, Qiu, was also very speechless. Although she had also heard of her student's illustrious reputation and that he was an out-and-out playboy, she did not expect that he would dare to do such a thing during the competition. He even broadcast it live, letting everyone in Tinshui City know about it. She felt that a person who could do such a thing was the worst. Fortunately, this guy would graduate in 2 months. Otherwise, she would have a headache on how to deal with this student. Xiaoping's parents, Xia Chuanlu and Huang Lanqin, also saw this scene on TV. Although they planned to travel around the world, they delayed it for a few days in order to watch their son's competition. My son is so awesome now. He even hooked up with a woman from the Nangong family. What's done is done. It's really the new wave of the Yangtze River surpasses the old wave. Xia Chuanlu looked gratified. It's just a little worse than me. Why do I remember that when someone was in high school, he didn't even talk to a woman? Huang Lanqin looked contemptuously at her husband's boasting and pierced his bragging in one sentence. Hearing this, Xia Chuanlu was immediately dissatisfied and shouted, "What you said is too contemptuous. Even when I was in high school, I talked to female classmates and had intimate contact. Is there such a thing?" Huang Lanqin was very surprised. She knew how useless her husband was. Xia Chuanlu snorted and said, "During the school martial art competition, I dueled with a female classmate and accidentally took a few punches from her. I was beaten black and blue and fell to the ground. Then the female classmate asked me with concern, 'Are you okay?' Then I wiped my bleeding nose and said it's not a big deal. Just like that, I had talked and had intimate contact with a female classmate, you know?" The corner of Huang Lanqin's mouth twitched, and she looked at her useless husband angrily. She was blind at the beginning to marry this bastard. At this time, Sim City. Nangong Wu took the people from Shilon High School, took a lot of food, and quickly left the villa without any reluctance. However, this matter was not over. Because this matter was too shocking, in just one night, it spread throughout the entire Sim City, so that all the contestants who had not been eliminated knew about it. This was the speed at which gossip spread, faster than the speed of light. At this time, in a luxury villa in a certain area of Sim City, if someone looks at their smartwatch, they will definitely be shocked to find that a total of 10 token lights are gathered in this place, which means that 10 tokens have been obtained by the people in this villa. There are also 10 people staying in this villa. They are the students of Tinshui City's first middle school. All 10 contestants who came to participate in the competition got a token. It must be known that students of other schools can get a token, even if their ancestral graves smoke, but every student of Tinshui City's first middle school got one. One can imagine how powerful these students are. It can only be said that it is worthy of being the best school in Tinshui City. It gathers the best students in the entire Tinshui City. Each of them has overwhelming combat power, and they all have the realm of martial disciple. Qin Muyang, have you heard? A hawk-nosed student looked at a young man in front of him with interest and said, something big happened last night. It is said that Nangong Wu and a poor boy were in a villa alone in a room. Shut up. Qin Muyang roared angrily, glaring at the hook-nosed student, signaling him to shut up. A violent rage surged from his body, his aura fluctuated, and the ground beneath his feet cracked from the terrifying force. Kacha-kacha sounds rang out, and countless cracks appeared. This matter was known to everyone. How could he not know? Even if he didn't want to know, these news would constantly reach his ears. After all, who doesn't know that Nangong Wu is the woman he likes? She is simply his exclusive. But now there is someone who dares to touch Nangong Wu. That man is simply courting death. After hearing this news, he felt unprecedented anger and wanted to tear that man apart immediately. No man could tolerate the woman he loved falling into someone else's arms. Very good. The hawk-nosed student smiled slightly and looked at Qin Muyang. Then what are you going to do? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Chapter 139. This news is ridiculous. I don't believe it. Qin Muyang snorted coldly. Even though he felt very angry, his rationality told him that the Nangong Wu he knew was definitely not such a casual woman. There must be wrong information in it. Yes, it is ridiculous. The hawk-nosed student also admitted, Nangong Wu is also not a woman who would do such a thing, but one thing is true. They did stay in a room, a man and a woman alone, for half an hour. So, I am very angry, and the consequences are very serious. Qin Muyang's eyes showed a trace of coldness. I don't care what they did in the room, and I don't care why that man did such a thing. In short, I am very angry. I hate that person named Xiaoping. I don't want to see him again. He did not hide his anger and disgust. Even if nothing happened in the room, such news spread, making him feel very unhappy. He could not tolerate this kind of thing at all. He wanted to beat any man who dared to touch Nangong Wu half to death. I also hate that kid. The hawk-nosed student also nodded. That guy is too high-profile and arrogant. Relying on his little strength, he is in the limelight here. I hate people who are more in the limelight than me. I want to beat that kid until he is half crippled and eliminated. I want him to know that there is always someone better than him. I want him to be low-key in the future and not be too arrogant. His words were very domineering, but no one dared to question him because he had such strength. Even in the entire Tianshui City First Middle School, apart from Qin Muyang, he was the strongest master. He was at the peak of the 9th layer of the martial disciple realm, only one step away from the martial disciple realm. But it is not easy to deal with that kid. A tall student next to him, whose body was like an iron tower, said, "It is said that he has quite the ability to incite people. He gathered hundreds of people in the villa, formed an army, and swept the simulation city. I don't know how many students were killed by him, and even 4 tokens were stolen by that kid. It is not a problem for the 10 of us to defeat that group of shrimp soldiers and crab generals, but we will more or less be injured, which is very disadvantageous for the future competition." He more or less grasped some information about Xiaoping. Humph, he can gather his henchmen. Why can't we? Qin Muyang laughed coldly. Let's go all out. Gathering hundreds of comrades nearby is a simple matter. That brat wants to bully us with numbers? What a joke. In short, I don't want to see him advance to the top 16. I want him to never have the chance to get close to Nangong Wu in this life. I want to teach him a profound lesson. He can't afford to offend just anyone, and he can't touch just any woman. His body emitted a terrifying, baleful aura, causing everyone to shiver. The sharp-nosed student and the others could tell that Qin Muyang was really angry. He was like an angry lion. Once he was angry, there would definitely be people injured. Xiaoping was dead. Moreover, with their ability, each of them could gather dozens of people and suppress a group of students, which was extremely simple. In terms of leadership ability alone, the students of Tianshui City First Middle School were not inferior to anyone. A few hours later, almost all the students who hadn't been eliminated from the simulation city were invited by the students of Tianshui City's number 1 high school to deal with Xiaoping together. The students of the First Middle School of Tianshui City personally invited us to deal with Xiaoping, and all the 4 tokens they got were given to us. What do you think? It's that Xiaoping from the 95th middle school. These 2 days, he's been like a thunderclap. He's caused a lot of trouble. It's said that even Nan Gongwu has been hooked up with him, which completely angered Qin Muyang. Hee, this is a good thing. Why not agree? I also want to see what kind of 3 heads and 6 arms Xiaoping has. He even took down Nan Gongwu. Indeed, we have to agree. Those people from the first middle school of Tianshui City want to use us, and we also want to use them. We can take this opportunity to get a token. Moreover, that Xiaoping doesn't seem to be easy to provoke. There are at least hundreds of people. Under the chaotic battle, maybe even the people from the first middle school of Tianshui City will suffer. Maybe we still have a chance to get a token from them. That's right. Who will win and who will lose is unknown. Even the first middle school of Tianshui City may not be invincible. Many students were discussing. They each had their own ulterior motives and had all kinds of plans in private. In the blink of an eye, it was the afternoon of the next day. Xiaoping stayed in his room in the villa and slept soundly. He slept very sweetly for a day and didn't pay attention to the undercurrents of the outside world. Who? Xiaoping stretched his back and felt that the sun was setting. He yawned comfortably and immediately heard the sound of system prompts. The hatred value continued to increase. Huh? What's going on? The hatred value seems to have increased a lot. Xiaoping immediately woke up and asked the system. The system replied, last night, there was a large amount of hatred value coming in. The host seems to have caused public anger. There are many people who have killing intent towards the host. Please be careful. How much hatred value has increased? Xiaoping was too lazy to care about this. He only cared about how much he got. The system said, so far, the host's hatred value has a total of 75,363 hatred value. Tens of thousands of hatred value increased. Now I'm rich. Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. With so much hatred value, he could exchange for the best quality medicinal pills and break through to the martial warrior realm. Once he reached the martial warrior realm, this hatred would be nothing. Who could do anything to him? In this world, strength is everything. With absolute strength, those people can only swallow their anger, even if they are unwilling. They can only break their teeth and swallow it. If he was the son of the president with a deep background, who would dare to be presumptuous towards him? The reason why these people dare to be presumptuous is just to bully the weak. In the face of the strong, everyone has to shut up and keep quiet. Dong, dong, dong. Suddenly, there was a burst of hurried footsteps outside. With a bang, the door opened, and then Han Shan and the others rushed in, their faces flustered. Big brother, it's not good. A large group of people is rushing towards our villa and surrounding us. Those people are mighty, at least 200 or 300 people, and their strength is not simple. The leader seems to be Qin Muyang from Tianshui City's first middle school. These guys are coming with ill intentions. Han Shan and the others said the information they had found out. All of them were extremely frightened. After all, they were surrounded by so many people. They were at a disadvantage. No matter how they thought, they couldn't escape. If they were caught by the other party, they would probably not be able to escape a beating and might even be eliminated. Chapter 140. Whiz, whiz, whiz. Hearing this, Xiaoping didn't say anything and immediately took Han Shan and others out, gathered his companions in the villa, and came to an open space outside the villa very fast. Sure enough, 200 or 300 people came immediately, all of them exuding a strong aura. After more than 2 days of elimination, most of the people who could stay were elites. And these people were all gathered by Qin Muyang and others to come to trouble Xiaoping. Who is Xiaoping? Get over here and die immediately. A hawk-nosed student stood up and shouted. His voice was like thunder, shaking all around, and the sound waves rolled, showing the powerful cultivation base of the 9th heaven martial disciple. When Han Shan and others heard this voice, they all felt their blood boiling. There was a kind of sound wave attack, and they almost had the urge to vomit blood. They retreated a dozen steps before they could barely resist the power of this sound. Everyone was shocked. This is the level of the students of the first middle school in Tianshui City. Any one of them has the strength of the strongest person in other schools, and they can't resist at all. Seeing the performance of everyone, The hawk-nosed student was very disdainful. Noisy fart. You have a big voice. You don't know if you usually scream. Aren't you afraid of being complained by your neighbors? Xiaoping stood up, glanced at the hawk-nosed student, and looked disdainfully at him. You. Hearing this, the hook-nosed student was so angry that his nose became crooked. His voice was loud because he had learned a sound wave technique. With a shout, it had the power to shatter steel. Even a ferocious tiger would be killed by it. In his bastard's mouth, he shouted so loudly, but he could only scream. I'm calling you an egg. Do you have a little eyesight? Even if you're ignorant and incompetent, you have to give me a limit. You what you? Xiaoping said contemptuously. A man doesn't learn any martial arts, but he specializes in learning some. Bed skills. This is a skill that women learn, you know? What's the use of men learning it? Big brother, it's still a little useful. After all, sometimes he doesn't necessarily like women. Feng Hatong smiled treacherously, looking at the hawk-nosed student with a very strange look. Xiaoping suddenly understood. Now that you mention it, it does make sense. Hearing this, Han Shan and others burst into laughter. Obviously, they all heard Feng Hatong's meaning. You're courting death. The hook-nosed scholar was so angry that his head was about to emit smoke. He actually dared to mock him as a gay to his face. How could he tolerate this? He wanted to fly into a rage on the spot. But before he could do anything, Qin Muyang stopped him. He stared at Xiaoping. You sharp-tongued dog. Since you don't know how to speak, I'll teach you on behalf of your parents. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, he struck out with his palm. High-grade martial technique. 5 ultimate killer hands. Immediately, the airflow in the air formed a terrifying palm. It condensed into a solid form and exploded with an extremely terrifying power. It fiercely attacked Xiaoping and the others. It clearly hadn't reached Xiaoping and the others, but a violent gale erupted in the air. The ground was torn apart by the gale, and dozens of cracks appeared. The ground shook and rumbled. Xiaoping's eyes flashed, and he struck out with his palm. With a bang, one of the gusts of wind was shattered, and he was unscathed. However, the others couldn't resist it and were hit by the gale. On the spot, 5 or 6 people were sent flying more than 10 meters away. Their lungs were severely injured, and they spat out blood. This is the strongest person in Tianshui City's #1 middle school, Qin Muyang. He's too strong. He has almost stepped into the martial warrior realm. He's at least a half step to the martial warrior realm. Everyone was horrified. They had really witnessed the strength of the strongest person in Tianshui City's #1 middle school. With a palm strike, 5 or 6 people were as fragile as babies. It was almost the same as a powerhouse who could expel true qi. Even a powerhouse of the same level couldn't withstand a single blow from Qin Muyang. It was estimated that it wouldn't be long before Qin Muyang could open up the Baihui acupoint and truly step into the martial warrior realm. At that time, no one would be his opponent at all, and he would sweep the entire Tianshui City High School. Han Shan and the others' faces were solemn, and they were ready for battle. Qin Muyang's reputation was like the shadow of a tree. His reputation was not based on words, but on fighting. He had suppressed all the top students in Tianshui City's #1 middle school to reach the top. This was the true #1, and no one could dispute it. To be able to block one of my moves, you have some ability. Perhaps in Tianshui City's 95th middle school, you can dominate and be invincible. No matter how arrogant you are, no one can do anything to you. Qin Muyang looked at Xiaoping with an arrogant expression. But this is Tianshui City's high school fighting competition. The elites of the entire city are gathered here, and the strong are as numerous as the clouds. It's not your turn to be presumptuous. As a weakling, you have to know what awe is. As he spoke, he exuded an incomparably powerful aura. It was like a mountain lying on top of everyone's heads, and the pressure made it hard for the people around to breathe. This was the power of invincibility, and no one could stop it. What a joke. Xiaoping looked at the other party indifferently. It's not my turn to be presumptuous. Do you think you could be presumptuous here? You're used to dominating Tianshui City's #1 middle school. You don't even know how high the sky is. You have to know that there are always people better than you. There are many people in this world who are stronger than you. Don't annoy me, or I'll beat you until your parents can't recognize you. Towards Qin Muyang's words, his attitude was very indifferent, and he didn't put the other party in his eyes at all. Not to mention that the other party was a half-step martial artist. Even if he had just entered the martial artist realm, he could resist the attack of a beginner martial artist with the Dark North body protection art that he had promoted to the 9th heaven of the martial artist realm. With this tyrannical body protection art, he was fearless, arrogant. Without waiting for Qin Muyang to speak, the hawk-nosed student next to him shouted angrily, "You want to compete with Qin Muyang? You're not qualified at all. I can beat you half to death, do you know? Die for me." He didn't intend to let Qin Muyang make a move at all. With a whoosh, he rushed out and actually wanted to rush over and beat Xiaoping. "You're not qualified to fight with Big Brother. Die for me." Under Xiaoping's signal, with a few whooshes, 5 or 6 students rushed out immediately, all of whom had the realm of the 8th or even the 9th heaven of the martial artist realm, and suddenly surrounded the hawk-nosed student. Despicable. Seeing this, the hawk-nosed student's face was green. He originally wanted to fight one-on-one, but who would have thought that this bastard actually called a group of people to beat him? This kind of behavior is too shameless. This is bullying by relying on the number of people. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, taking advantage of the hawk-nosed student's stupor, those who made the move would not be polite. One by one, they were ruthless and unceremonious, and they greeted each other. In just a few breaths, the hawk-nosed student was beaten to the ground, his nose was bruised, his lungs were severely injured, and he had no power to fight back. Chapter 141. Shameless. Seeing this, a student from Tianshui City's first middle school was furious and glared at Xiaoping. "You guys are bullying others with numbers. 5 or 6 people against one person. What kind of hero is that?" They all gritted their teeth, and their lungs were about to explode. Before the fight even started, someone was beaten up and knocked to the ground, and it was someone from their Tianshui City's first middle school. Qin Muyang didn't expect this bastard to be despicable to this extent. He attacked 5 or 6 people at once. He didn't talk about justice at all. So what if you bully others with numbers? It's not an arena competition. If you have the guts, come and bite me. Xiaoping looked at this group of students with disdain, not affected by these people's words at all. What the hell? This Xiaoping is really despicable and shameless. He's even more despicable than the rumors. I want to beat this bastard up. Don't stop me. I'm going to cripple this shameless Xiaoping. Doesn't he want to bully others with numbers? Then let's see who has more people. We have at least 200 or 300 people. If we rush up together, we can beat him until he pisses himself in an instant. What nonsense, do it now. Hearing this, the people from Tianshui City's first middle school were furious. Being provoked like this, how could these hot-blooded students stand it? So. A group of people rushed up like fierce tigers. More than 300 people began to move aggressively. Han Shan and the others' faces turned green. This scourged Xiaoping. They had more than 100 people fighting more than 300 people. Wasn't that courting death? How could they be their opponents? But now, even if they wanted to escape, it was impossible. They were all targeted by the other party. How could they escape? "Follow me," Xiaoping shouted, and took the lead to rush up. Seeing this, the others had no choice but to follow up. Hundreds of people began to fight. Bang, bang, bang. The people in front were immediately sent flying by Xiaoping with a few punches, but the people behind were still coming one after another. They were very fierce and had no fear. There were too many people on the other side. Soon, Han Shan and the others were at a disadvantage and retreated. The people from both sides were mixed together, and there was no distinction between them. It was as if they were in a mess. These bastards want to fight with us? They're courting death. Everyone, use more strength. Soon, we will be able to beat Xiaoping and his group to the ground. The students of the first middle school of Tianshui City were extremely excited and shouted desperately, as if they were about to see Xiaoping being beaten up. Xiaoping rolled his eyes and immediately took out a token and threw it into the crowd. A student in white subconsciously reached out and picked it up. He immediately shouted, "I don't want to play anymore. I surrender. Aren't you guys here for the token? I've already given you all the tokens." You can take them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, many people looked at the medallion in the white-clothed student's hand, and greed appeared in their eyes. If they could obtain this medallion, they would immediately advance to the top 16. At that time, they would gain both fame and fortune. Who wouldn't want it? Oh no! The white-clothed student's face turned green. This wasn't a command medallion, but a hot potato. Now that he had obtained it, he immediately became the target of public criticism. How could a command medallion be something so easy to obtain? However, it was impossible for him to hand it over. After all, it was too difficult to obtain this token. If he could escape with this token, he might be able to advance to the top 16. With a whoosh, he gritted his teeth, turned around, and ran, trying to break out of the encirclement. By the way, I still have 2 on me. I'll give them all to you. Xiaoping made another move and threw both tokens out, letting 2 students reach out and pick them up. He had 4 tokens on him, and now he had lost 3. Immediately, the 2 students who got the tokens were overjoyed. How could they still want to fight with these people here? Escaping was the best strategy. They came here to compete, not to fight. As for the grievances between the first middle school and Xiaoping, it had nothing to do with them. Damn it, that bastard wants to run after snatching the token. Hurry up and catch him. At this time, Xiaoping secretly hid in the crowd, fanning the flames. Shameless, we are fighting here, and these bastards want to run away after snatching the token? No way. The token belongs to me. Whoever dares to snatch it, go to hell. A group of people suddenly became furious and rushed up, trying to catch those students. They came here to get the token. Now that there were no benefits, how could they be willing to give up? Stop immediately. This is all Xiaoping's trick. Everyone, don't be fooled, calm down. A student of Tianshui City's first middle school shouted, trying to control the situation. Trick my ass. Who doesn't know that the people of the first middle school have already obtained the token? Of course, we don't take it seriously. You just want to use us as cannon fodder for you. Xiaoping mixed into the crowd, shouting loudly, splashing dirty water on the first middle school. Which bastard, come out immediately. I promise I won't kill you. The student of the first middle school flew into a rage, trying to catch the bastard who wanted to fan the flames. Go to hell. Suddenly, a stone was thrown at him from an extremely strange and tricky angle. In an instant, it hit the knee of the student of the first middle school. With a puff, he immediately knelt on the ground, weak and powerless. This was Xiaoping's move. He used the hidden weapon technique of the head-nailing 7 arrows technique to seriously injure the opponent. Hurry up, this kid also has a token. If we cripple him, the token will belong to us. So what if you're the first middle school? Why do you have to stand on our heads and order us like this? Don't we other middle schools have the right to get the token and be the champion? Xiaoping also shouted loudly in the crowd. Listening to this, a group of students next to him were tempted. They came here to see if there was a chance to get the token, so they followed the people of Tianshui City's first middle school. Now that they could snatch the token from the other side, they naturally wouldn't hesitate. After all, they were not really the subordinates of the students of Tianshui City's first middle school. This place was the scene of the competition. Everyone was competitors. If there was an opportunity to not fight for it, it would be stupid. Snatch it. That kid has a token. So what if you're from the first middle school? You're not the only one who advanced to the top 16. A group of people rushed up and violently beat up the student of the first middle school. His clothes were stripped off, and naturally, the token was also snatched by one of them without any hesitation. Guys, take advantage of this opportunity to cripple these people of the first middle school. When the time comes, we will have hope of becoming the champion. Xiaoping very insidiously reminded these students. Chapter 142. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everyone stared at the students of Tianshui City's first middle school with a ferocious look in their eyes. These people were not only the favorites to win the championship, but they also had tokens on them. 09 small talk net. If they could use the power of everyone to completely eliminate these students of the first middle school, then they would have a great hope of winning the championship. After all, compared with the threat of Xiaoping, the threat of these people from the first middle school was the greatest. What the hell do you want? Sensing the malicious eyes around them, Qin Muyang and the others shouted angrily, shocked and angry. Not only did these bastards not listen to their orders, but they also wanted to fight back. Go! 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. 2 of them have already been crippled, and there are still 8 left. If we rush up together, we can definitely beat them until they piss their pants. Xiaoping hid in the crowd and fanned the flames. When Qin Muyang and the others heard this, they were so angry that their noses were crooked. These bastards actually had this kind of idea. They actually wanted to cripple their first middle school and rob them of their tokens. Everyone's eyes lit up, and they rushed up one by one, wanting to beat Qin Muyang and the others up. No matter how strong these people were, it was impossible for them to be opponents of so many people. This was a rare opportunity. A group of ants dare to attack us. Everyone, let's attack together and destroy them. Let these people see the power of the first middle school. 09 Small Talk Net. Yes, it's just a lackey, and they want to fight back against the master. Too presumptuous. The students of the first middle school were all furious. If these students really swarmed up, hundreds of them would probably be beaten half to death, so they had to make the first move. Immediately, 2 people jumped out and displayed high-level martial arts skills. They were fierce and unparalleled. Like a burst bear, every punch and kick contained terrifying power, showing the strength of the 9th heaven martial disciple. In just an instant, 5 or 6 students in front were shocked and coughed up blood on the spot. For a moment, everyone present was shocked. They didn't expect the people of the first middle school to be so powerful. They could defeat so many students with just a few moves. It was too fierce. Haha, a group of mobs want to deal with my first middle school? You are simply dreaming. The 2 of them burst into laughter, feeling even more disdain for these students. They charged towards the crowd and attacked repeatedly, knocking another 5 or 6 students to the ground. Such momentum was simply like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, sweeping through everything before it. Swish, swish. Suddenly, 2 stones flew over from the sky. Like lightning, they pierced through space, containing a terrifying force. In an instant, they arrived before the 2 of them. What? The 2 from the first middle school were having a good time, enjoying the feeling of beating up so many students. But at this moment, their hair stood on end. Their instincts for danger surged. A great danger was approaching. However, even if they could sense the danger, it was useless. They could not block it at all. The 2 stones struck their dantians in an instant. A terrifying force seeped into their dantians and dispersed the true energy in their dantians. For a few seconds, they were unable to circulate their true chi, as if their cultivation had been dispelled. Go kill these 2 bastards. We can't let the first middle school look down on us. What's so great about them? Are they born nobler than us? After plotting against the 2, Xiaoping continued to shout loudly. The surrounding people immediately came to their senses. Seeing that the 2 of them seemed to be unable to move, they were all overjoyed. They rushed up and punched and kicked the 2 of them. The 2 of them screamed like pigs being slaughtered and kept coughing up blood. But now that the true energy in their dantians was scattered, they could not exert any strength for a while. Damn it, they have an accident. We must save them immediately. Everyone, let's do it together. Qin Muyang saw that the 2 from his school seemed to have been plotted against. If this continued, he was afraid that they would be seriously injured and eliminated. For the first middle school, this was simply a disgrace. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The remaining 6 students from the first middle school, including Qin Muyang, chose to take action. They revealed the powerful cultivation of the 9th heaven of martial disciple. Like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, they planned to sweep this group of students and let them know what a genius was. The first middle school could not be defeated by a large number of people. Sure enough, when the 6 powerhouses of the 9th heaven of martial disciple realm took action, it was as if there were 6 more fierce tigers. Immediately, 20 or 30 students were shaken and coughed up blood on the spot. These people showed invincible power. Want to win? It's not that simple. Xiaoping's eyes showed a trace of coldness, and immediately there were 5 or 6 stones in his hand. First style of the 7 arrows, piercing heart and bone. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 5 or 6 stones easily passed through the crowd, bypassing countless gaps, tearing the air with a strong, penetrating force, and suddenly came in front of the people from the first middle school. With a few bangs, those people were caught off guard and the stones hit their knees. They felt severe pain on the spot and were unable to move for a few seconds. Even Qin Muyang was hit. They had no idea that there would be someone so despicable as to plot against them. Who is it? Which bastard is plotting against me? Stand up immediately, and I promise I won't kill you. Qin Muyang felt that he actually couldn't use his strength for a moment. His face turned green and extremely ugly. He originally had invincible power, but now he was actually plotted against. He couldn't bear this anger at all. Go to hell. A few students rushed up, punching and kicking Qin Muyang. A punch solidly hit on Qin Muyang's handsome face, directly causing it to become red and swollen. A kick directly on his crotch actually directly hit a vital point. Another student took out a brick out of nowhere and suddenly attacked from behind. With a bang, it hit the back of his head, smashing the brick on the spot. In just a second, Qin Muyang was beaten miserably like a pig's head. Qin Muyang went crazy. He was extremely angry. This was simply a tiger that fell to the flatland, was simply bullied by dogs. A dragon swimming in shallow water was played by shrimps. When had the dignified #1 master of the first middle school been beaten like this? If it weren't for that despicable and shameless villain, he would not have encountered such a disaster at all. I won't forgive you. I won't forgive you. From the corner of his eye, Qin Muyang saw a despicable figure smiling at him sinisterly. This person was obviously that shameless Xia Ping. It was obvious that the person who had plotted against him just now was this bastard. Xia Ping, you're courting death. Qin Muyang was so angry that his nose was crooked. He wanted to rush over and settle the score with this bastard. However, with so many students staring at him covetously, he couldn't move at all. Several students surrounded him and attacked him, trying to snatch the token from him. Chapter 143. At this moment, the entire scene was in chaos. Those who were fighting for the tokens and those who wanted to run away with the tokens were fighting each other. It was a chaotic battle. Everyone was an enemy here. Even those who didn't want to fight for the tokens were treated as enemies and forced to fight. The people from the first middle school were the targets. They were treated as fat sheep and attacked with all their might. Xia Ping didn't expect that his little scheme, hoping that the other side's allied forces would be in chaos, would cause such a huge commotion. Yes, it's time to retreat. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. At this stage, no one's orders mattered. Everyone was fighting for themselves. After this battle, at least 90% of the people would be eliminated. Even if they weren't eliminated, there was only one night left until the end of the competition. After this time, the preliminaries would be over. There was no need to fight to the death here. Whoosh! Thinking of this, Xia Ping's figure flashed in the crowd and secretly left the center of the battle. When Qin Muyang saw this, he was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. He wanted to chase after that bastard and beat him to death. However, he was surrounded by a group of students and couldn't escape at all. The other students from the first middle school were the same. Because of the previous sneak attack, they were beaten up badly. They were instantly injured, and some even had their tokens snatched away. This scourge. On the top floor of a building far away, the people from Shilong Middle School were also watching this scene. Nangong Wu was speechless as she looked at the chaotic scene and Xia Ping, who had sneaked away. She originally thought that Xia Ping was dead for sure. This time, he would definitely be defeated by the alliance led by Qin Muyang to help prevent her anger. Who would have thought that things would develop to this stage? Not only was this bad guy fine and retreated unscathed, but Qin Muyang and the others were unlucky. They were treated as fat sheep and were beaten up by a group of students. It was very miserable. It could only be said that Xia Ping's cunning had exceeded his imagination. Big sister, that bad guy ran away. Should we go and beat him up to vent our anger? A girl suggested and stared fiercely at the escaping Xia Ping. This time, the reputation of Shilong Middle School was ruined. The dignified pearl of Shilong Middle School was actually forced to dance by this man. This was simply a scandal. The other girls were also eager to try. No need, That brat is not a simple person. Don't provoke him for now. Nangong Wu's expression was very calm. She thought about what happened last night. His full-powered palm strike landed on this brat, but that bastard was actually unharmed. One could imagine how terrifying this fellow's strength was. If he really erupted, he would probably not be weaker than Qin Muyang, or even stronger. If they really went to look for trouble, not only would they not be able to deal with this guy, they might even be humiliated. She wouldn't do something she wasn't confident in. Count 'em lucky. The girls of Sholan Middle School gritted their teeth. They were very unwilling, but since Nangong Wu said so, they had no choice but to temporarily give up. In the distance, there were also scattered contestants gathered around the villa. These people neither joined the Xiaoping Coalition Army nor the First Middle School's Coalition Army. They were all neutral, but seeing this scene, they couldn't help but feel excited, and their blood was boiling. I'm rich. I'm really rich this time. I thought there was no chance for us to advance to the top 16, but I didn't expect this to happen. Wait until they're almost done fighting. Then we'll go out and reap the benefits. I bet these people didn't expect there to be people lying in ambush here. We're the true victors. A bunch of idiots. Those tokens will definitely be taken by us. We have to thank that Xiaoping. If it wasn't for him, how could we have gotten such a chance? Break the First Middle School's monopoly. Everyone discussed spiritedly. They were all incomparably excited. They had made a wishful thinking. When these people were almost done fighting, they would immediately make a move and decide the outcome in one battle, snatching all the tokens. Chu Rong and Jiang Yaru were among these people. They were scattered in different areas, but their tokens had all been taken by the First Middle School, so they hadn't been able to find a chance. When they heard the news, they quickly rushed over. But they didn't expect something like this to happen. Both sides directly erupted into a chaotic battle, and the First Middle School's coalition army actually killed each other. It was simply too dramatic. As expected, no matter where this scoundrel goes, he'll always be a scourge. Jiang Yaru looked at the students of the First Middle School, rejoicing in their misfortune. Who asked these guys to be arrogant and look down on others? Now, they finally kicked an iron plate. This was the first time she felt that this scoundrel Xiaoping had done the right thing for once. He had never done anything good before. This is an opportunity, we can't miss it. Chu Rong clenched her fists. If it wasn't for this accident, they probably wouldn't have found a chance to get the tokens. After all, the First Middle School's coalition was simply too strong. They wouldn't be able to make a move. But now, these people were beaten miserably, and the opportunity had come. We still have many opponents. We have to be careful, Jiang Yaru said solemnly. There were also many people who wanted to get the tokens. Chu Rong smiled. It's fine. If we join hands, even the First Middle School won't be afraid. For the sake of advancing to the top 16 and obtaining the tokens, these two archenemies joined hands at this time. After all, if they couldn't advance to the top 16, everything would be for naught. At this time, Xiaoping was far away from the battlefield. He found a hotel room and entered the presidential suite. Just like that, he fell into a deep sleep, not paying any attention to the battlefield at all. After all, he had already obtained a token. Advancing to the top 16 was already a sure thing. As for who would be able to fight for the tokens in the future, it had nothing to do with him. This sleep lasted for the entire night. During this time, no one came looking for trouble with Xiaoping. It was as if everyone in the tournament had completely forgotten about him. This made Xiaoping feel very at ease. Early the next morning, the sun shone in through the window. It was extremely warm and gentle. Xiaoping got up from the soft bed and stretched. After a night's sleep, he felt extremely comfortable and refreshed. It was as if all the fatigue of the day had disappeared. Beep beep. At this time, a message came from his smartwatch. A virtual projection appeared, showing tournament over. Immediately leave the simulation city and head to the gate of the 8th region. Is the tournament finally over? Xiaoping smiled. He knew that he had advanced to the top 16, but he didn't know who else had advanced to the top 16. Chapter 144. The city gate of the 8th zone. When Xiaoping arrived at the city gate, he immediately found that many students had gathered in this place, but there were basically only a few of these people who were unscathed. All of them were in a sorry state. If they were not beaten in the head, their faces were swollen, and they had a pair of panda eyes. Their arms were broken, and their thighs were broken. Anyway, they were as miserable as they could be. These students supported each other and walked out of the city gate step by step. They were almost like refugees. The staff near the city gate were also speechless, and the corners of their mouths twitched. They had organized so many high school fighting competitions, but this one was the worst. Almost everyone was injured. Moreover, they were not light injuries. They were all seriously injured, and they were the kind of people who wanted to kill. F***CK, isn't this guy Xia Ping? Why hasn't he been beaten to death yet? He actually came out alive and kicking? Look at his eyes. Look at his face. How rosy it is. It seems that he has rested for a night and is very comfortable. F***CK. We were chased all night and fought with each other. I don't know how many people were sent to the hospital, but this kid ate and drank well and even slept for a night. I can't accept it. Why are we so miserable? Is there any justice in this world? God has no eyes. Seeing Xia Ping walk out of the city gate, the other students looked over one by one, and their eyes showed extreme anger. They simply wanted to rush up and bite Xia Ping to death immediately. What's the matter? Why are you looking at me? I'm not very familiar with you. But what the hell is going on with you guys? Did I go to the wrong place and come to the disabled summit? Xia Ping looked at the students around him curiously, feeling very puzzled. T. Who would participate in the disabled summit? If you don't know how to speak, don't say it. No one will think you are mute. Hearing these words, the surrounding students were so angry that their noses were crooked. The reason why they became so miserable and each of them became disabled, was it not all because of this shameless guy? If it weren't for you, bastard, fanning the flames, how could they have fought and gotten out of hand? Everyone was beating each other, and both sides were injured. However, the perpetrator was not even a fart. He was refreshed, his face was rosy, and he seemed to have had a good sleep. In contrast, they were too miserable, and all of them were angry. Xia Ping. At this moment, an angry shout rang out. A man with a head wrapped in white bandages, 2 panda eyes, and a mouth swollen like a sausage walked over. He widened his panda eyes and glared fiercely at Xia Ping, as if he wanted to eat him alive. Brother Panda, are we close? Xia Ping blinked his eyes and looked at the man in confusion. He believed that he had never seen this kid before and that he was a stranger. He clearly remembered that no one he knew looked like a panda. I'm not a panda. I'm Qin Muyang. The man cried out in grief and indignation. His tone contained boundless grief and indignation, and he was almost unable to suppress his emotions. Everyone was stunned and dumbfounded. This was the first time they had seen Qin Muyang like this. If he hadn't mentioned it, no one would have recognized him. You are Qin Muyang? It couldn't be. How could he become like this after just one night? Time is really a butcher's knife. Xia Ping sighed again and again. Time was a terrifying thing. Thinking back to how handsome Qin Muyang was back then, he was practically a school idol. In just one night, he had become like this. Of course, it wasn't bad now. He had become a cute type and could act cute anytime and anywhere. It was just that his chin and face were a little bigger and a little swollen. Kill your ass. I was beaten up by someone. Qin Muyang's nose was crooked from anger. He had become like this, and this bastard thought it was the fault of time. T. No matter how terrifying time was, it was impossible for him to become like this in one night. Even someone who aged easily wouldn't age so quickly. This bastard didn't have much ability, but his ability to shirk responsibility was great. Beaten up by someone? Xia Ping blinked his pure eyes, looking very innocent. So that's how it is. But who did this to you? It's too cruel. You. Qin Muyang gritted his teeth. Thinking of what happened last night, he didn't want to recall it. It was simply a nightmare, the most painful night in 18 years. He was plotted against and beaten up by a group of people. Someone hit him on the back of the head with a brick, almost knocking him out. A group of people punched and kicked him. If he hadn't cultivated a powerful body protection technique and struggled hard, maybe his pants would have been snatched by a group of wolf-like bastards. He almost lost his chastity. But even so, In order to avoid the pursuit of a group of people, he fought and retreated. In the end, he finally lasted until the end of the competition. He didn't sleep all night and his nerves were tense. It was a pity that he was a master at the 9th layer of the martial disciple realm, the strongest in the first middle school, the son of the mayor, but he was beaten up like this and chased like a dead dog. When did he, Qin Muyang, experience such a thing? And all of this, thanks to this shameless Xiaoping. Xiaoping, don't pretend to be innocent here. If you didn't plot against us last night, how could we become so miserable? Thanks to your plot, the students of our first middle school were beaten miserably. 6 were eliminated, and 4 were seriously injured and hospitalized. This is all thanks to you, do you know? 2 or 3 students with white bandages came forward and glared at Xiaoping fiercely. They were the remaining students of the first middle school. Before, 10 of them could advance to the top 16, but after last night's battle, only 4 people could advance to the top 16, which was the worst in years. So they hated Xiaoping so much that they couldn't help but want to go up and beat Xiaoping up. Okay, don't talk here. At this time, a middle-aged referee came out. Your injuries are very serious. You need to go in for treatment immediately and soak in a nutrient solution. If you delay, there may be sequelae, you know? He waved his hand and ordered the staff around to come forward and carry away the seriously injured students. This Tianshui City High School fighting competition was organized by the government. Naturally, a series of medical measures were prepared to prevent students from being too seriously injured during the fighting and dying. Moreover, these medical treatments were free. It was a kind of safety guarantee given by the government to the contestants. Humph! Seeing that the referee had spoken personally, Qin Muyang and others were helpless. They also knew that they couldn't do anything to Xia Ping now. Once they did, they would be kicked out of the competition and eliminated completely. Chapter 145. After the qualifiers, a day passed. At this time, Tianshui City Stadium. Although it is said to be a stadium, it is better to call it Sports City because there are all kinds of facilities here, including restaurants, dormitories, training grounds, green space, and so on. This place is a bit similar to the Olympic City in his previous life. The students who advance to the top 16 from the qualifiers are eligible to live in this Sports City apartment. Xiaoping is no exception, but the other students have to be sent back to their hometown. Early in the morning, the nutrition cabin in the bedroom opened with a snap. Xiaoping opened his eyes, and the liquid in his body was immediately evaporated by the machine. Then he came out of the nutrition cabin refreshed. As expected of the advanced nutrition cabin, the nutrient solution inside is really not a cover. It is estimated that it will cost hundreds of thousands of federal coins to soak once. The government is really willing. Xiaoping exclaimed. This is a benefit provided to the top 16 students to recover from the fatigue and injuries of the qualifiers. No matter how serious the injury on the body is, soaking in this high-level nutrient solution can recover in one night. Although he did not suffer too many injuries, the nutrient solution also has great benefits for strengthening the body. He naturally will not let go of this opportunity to take advantage of it. Pa pa pa. He moved his body, and the bones all over his body vibrated, bursting out with the sound of tigers and leopards. He felt that his body seemed to have become stronger after a night of cultivation. Even the true qi in his body has grown a little stronger, moving towards the peak of the 9th heaven of martial arts. It will not be long before I can break through to the martial warrior realm. Xiaoping squeezed his fist, feeling the strength of his whole body muscles, and the true qi in his body flowed like a river. The 9 meridians were all connected and condensed into one. This is the power of the peak of the martial disciple realm. And now his Baihui acupoint has actually been connected a long time ago. Once he is promoted to the peak of the 9th heaven of martial arts, then with this power, he will naturally step into the martial disciple realm and completely connect the Baihui acupoint. Others don't have such a good thing. Gugu, at this time, Xiaoping's stomach made a sound. He reached out and touched his stomach. Well, are you hungry? It seems that it is time to go out for breakfast. There is a competition later. After the qualifiers, the next morning will be the top 16, Then the afternoon will be the top 8. Then the next day will be the top 4. And then the afternoon will be the final. This was a 2-day competition for the top 16. There was no time to rest at all. It was extremely cruel. A few minutes later, Xiaoping came out of the apartment and went to the cafeteria. All the food in the cafeteria was provided free of charge. It could be considered a benefit for the students participating in the competition. Xiaoping. When they arrived at the dining hall, a clear and melodious voice rang out. It was Jiang Yaru. She had also advanced to the top 16 and was currently in the dining hall. You actually slept until now. You're really undisciplined. Do you look down on the other contestants that much? The one who spoke was Chu Rong. She had also advanced to the top 16. These two people teamed up during the qualifiers, exerting more terrifying strength than the martial disciple Nine Heavens, suppressing a group of strong people and successfully seizing 2 tokens, making countless people look sideways. Of course not. My injuries were too severe. I rested in the health pod for a long time. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Bullshit. Jiang Yaru and Chu Rong saw through this bastard's lies with a single glance. Who didn't know that this bastard had been hiding from the very beginning? He hadn't participated in the battle the day before yesterday, and had even left the Sim City in high spirits the next day. If this was considered too severe, then wouldn't everyone else be disabled? Even if the other contestants were no different from disabled people after coming out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All of a sudden, a group of people walked into the dining hall. They were the students of Tianshui City's first middle school. One by one, they entered the dining hall. The person in the lead was Qin Muyang. After soaking in the nutrient solution for a day, their injuries had mostly healed, compared to the miserable state they were in before, who knew how much better they were. Suddenly, Qin Muyang and the others saw Xiaoping in the dining hall. The atmosphere immediately became heavy. Jiang Yaru and Chu Rong knew that Xiaoping had a grudge against these guys. During the qualifiers, he had ruthlessly plotted against them, making Qin Muyang and the others suffer. Xiaoping. Qin Muyang gritted his teeth. These 2 words seemed to have been spat out from between his teeth. Who knew how much anger was contained in those words? There was even a trace of killing intent emanating from his body. The other students of the first middle school also stared at Xiaoping coldly. Today is the start of the top 16. Qin Muyang's eyes were cold and emotionless. His tone was as cold as the winter wind. This time, no one can help you. I will personally defeat you on the stage and break your legs. He clearly remembered the humiliation he had suffered in the qualifiers. It could be said that such a painful experience was brought to him by Xiaoping. If he didn't repay him well, he would definitely die. If he didn't properly repay him, then he, Qin Muyang, would write his name backwards. With just you. Xiaoping gave him a sidelong glance. Qin Muyang sneered. Still so stubborn. If you hadn't relied on numbers to plot against me during the qualifiers, how could a piece of trash like you be a match for me? On the stage, you won't be able to use any tricks. In front of absolute strength, you're nothing but a bug. I can easily crush you. His eyes were incomparably arrogant. He had absolute confidence in himself. I wonder who's the real trash here. Wait until you really defeat Xiaoping before you can say such big words. Jiang Yaru was very displeased with the other party's arrogant attitude and said in a very displeased manner, Shut up. We men are talking. Since when did you have the right to interrupt? You deserve a slap. Qin Muyang's eyes flashed with a cold light. With a bang, his palm slammed out like lightning. The power of this palm was even stronger than during the qualifiers. It was incomparably fierce. What? Jiang Yaru's expression changed. She could feel that she had been completely locked down by the power of this palm. No matter where she tried to hide, it would still catch up to her. If she was hit by this incomparably fierce palm, she would at least be heavily injured. Moreover, it was aimed at her face. It might even be disfigured. Xiaoping took a step forward and arrived in front of Jiang Yaru. His fist slammed out like a shark leaping out of the sea. Bang! The fist and the palm collided with each other, and immediately a powerful shockwave erupted. The nearby tables were all blown away by the violent wind, making crashing sounds, and even a few cracks appeared on the ground. Chapter 146. Oomph. You sure know how to be protective of the fairer sex. Qin Muyang retracted his palm. He wasn't surprised that Xia Ping was able to block his attack. He sneered. This is just a lesson for her. Let her know that following the wrong person will bring her great misfortune. If you know what's good for you, then scram. Otherwise, you won't have a good ending either. He looked at Xia Ping, Jiang Yaru, and the others with contempt, as if he was looking at ants. Jiang Yaru was furious. If it weren't for Xia Ping suddenly making a move, she would have suffered a calamity. But how could she have imagined that this guy would dare to make a move in a place like this? This guy was simply too unbridled and out of control. He probably relied on his identity as the mayor's son to act like a tyrant and not put anyone in his eyes. Fellow student. At this time, a security guard immediately walked in. He seemed to have noticed the situation. You can't fight here. If you break the rules, you'll be immediately kicked out and stripped of your qualifications. He warned the students that if the contestants fought in the cafeteria and the reporters found out, it would be a huge scandal. He had no choice but to stop them. Don't worry, this is just a greeting. Qin Muyang didn't even look at the security guard. He looked at Xia Ping and sneered. The good part is yet to come. I will completely crush you on the stage in front of everyone in Tianshui City and trample you beneath my feet. Of course, you'll have to crawl in front of me first. If you don't even have the qualifications to stand in front of me, then you're nothing more than trash. After saying that, he waved his hand and left with the students from Tianshui City's first middle school. That bastard is too hateful. Does he think that just because he's from Tianshui City's first middle school that he'll definitely win? That he's invincible? Jiang Yaru was furious to the extreme. The guy has the qualifications to be arrogant. Chu Rong's expression was solemn. I can feel that this palm is extremely unusual. It seems that compared to the qualifiers, this Qin Muyang has become even stronger. Otherwise, there's no way Yaru wouldn't be able to dodge that palm. No way, even stronger. Jiang Yaru furrowed his brows. Indeed, I can feel that my entire body's aura has been locked onto by him. There's an unusual pressure coming from him, completely different from before. But he is already a powerhouse at the peak of the ninth heaven of the martial artist. If he is stronger, wouldn't he have been promoted to the martial artist realm? But how is this possible? She shook her head, not daring to imagine this fact. Even in the hundreds of years of history of Tianshui City, there were very few high school students who could advance to the martial warrior realm. However, Xia Ping was certain that Qin Muyang had indeed advanced to the martial warrior realm. There was a faint trace of mental strength coming from Qin Muyang's body, and even his vital energy was several times stronger than before. All of these proved that he had already stepped into the martial warrior realm. However, he had not displayed his full strength just now. He was still holding back, probably wanting to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat in the finals, shocking countless spectators and establishing his own reputation. If Qin Muyang really advances to the martial warrior realm, I'm afraid he will be the champion this time. No one will be able to compete with him. Chu Rong sighed. After all, the gap between the martial artist realm and the martial disciple realm was too big. It was almost impossible to make up for. It was like a gap between heaven and earth. Xia Ping did not say anything. Even if Qin Muyang had advanced to the martial artist realm, he was not afraid. Qin Muyang had only advanced to the first heaven of the martial artist realm and cleared one acupoint. Although there was a great improvement in strength, there was still a long way to go to break his northern dark body protection art. In the past, he had also fought against Lin Bao, the leader of the Cheetah Regiment, who was a half-step martial warrior. In the face of the other party's desperate blow, he could not cause any harm to him. Instead, he was slapped to death by him, but at that time, he was only at the 8th layer of martial disciple. Now, Xia Ping was already at the 9th layer of the martial disciple realm. He had opened up 9 meridians and merged them into one. His strength was several times stronger than before. Even if he faced a powerhouse at the 1st layer of the martial disciple realm, he was still fearless. Of course, there was no need for him to say all of this out loud. Everything would be revealed in the arena. At this time, the students of Tianshui City's number 1 middle school, Qin Muyang, and the others left the restaurant. Big Brother Qin, how is it? Did you test out the strength of that kid Xiaoping? A long-haired student asked. He knew that the reason why Qin Muyang suddenly attacked just now was intentional. The purpose was to test Xiaoping's strength. I've tested it out. This kid has been promoted to the 9th layer of the martial disciple realm. The information still shows that he is a powerhouse at the 8th layer of the martial disciple realm. It's obvious that the information is wrong. Qin Muyang said in a deep voice, his eyes revealing a cold light. After experiencing the painful lesson of the qualifiers, he would not underestimate any opponent. So he deliberately came to the restaurant to find trouble with Xiaoping and test the strength of the other party. Too despicable, the long-haired student yelled. Where is this information wrong? It's clear that the kid is pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He must have hidden his cultivation base and waited for the game to suddenly break out. When we are unprepared, we will definitely be caught off guard by the other party. A hawk-nosed student next to him also had a gloomy face. I saw the shamelessness of this bastard in the qualifiers. I didn't expect his despicable shamelessness to penetrate into the bone. Even the information of martial arts cultivation base is false. Fortunately, we tested it in time, otherwise we would have been deceived by this guy. This Xiaoping is too shameless. His words really can't be trusted even with a punctuation mark. Even a martial arts cultivation base is fake. Are those organizers eating shit? They can't even judge a person's true cultivation base. It's too incompetent. Fortunately, Big Brother Qin is smart and knows how to test it. In short, we were fooled by this bastard once. There must not be a second time. His trump card has been exposed. This time he has nowhere to escape and will definitely be defeated by our first middle school. Several other students clenched their fists, obviously unwilling to accept what happened in the qualifiers. If Xiaoping was here, he would definitely feel very innocent because his information was not falsified. It was just because he suddenly broke through in the qualifiers. Of course, no one would believe these words. It's okay, so what if it's fake? He only has this ability. Qin Muyang sneered. In the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy is just a joke. I will let Xiaoping see what is powerless and what is terror. I will return all the care he gave me during the qualifiers. He gritted his teeth, his body exuding a cold, murderous aura. Chapter 147. Half an hour later, Xiaoping ate and drank his fill in the restaurant. Suddenly, he felt a hint of urination, so he ran to the men's toilet in the restaurant and comfortably peed. However, when he was about to walk out of the toilet, a man in white came towards him. His face showed a feminine expression, his eyes contained a trace of gloom, and his whole body exuded a trace of coldness, which made people feel very uncomfortable. If I'm not wrong, you are Xiaoping, right? The man in white stared at Xiaoping, revealing a proud smile, as if he had seen an interesting toy. I am Xiaoping, who are you? Xiaoping looked at the man in white indifferently. Let me introduce myself first. I am Lu Liang, and my father is the deputy mayor, Lu Changjiang. The man in white, Lu Liang, looked at Xiaoping and said, I am very interested in you. You dare to offend Qin Muyang so blatantly. You're really bold. He pointed out his identity, giving people a sense of superiority. Whether I am bold or not, what does it have to do with you? Xiaoping said lightly. The man in white, Lu Liang, clapped his hands and said, because I admire you very much. Be my follower. With me protecting you, I believe Qin Muyang will not dare to do anything to you. Moreover, my Lu family is also a big family in Tinshui City. We are rich in resources, and it is easy to cultivate a few martial arts experts. As long as you follow me, you will not have to worry about food and clothing in the future. Glory, splendor, and wealth will be at your fingertips. Of course, since you're my follower, you must understand what it means to be respectful. You have to change the tone of your speech. Don't go out and lose the face of my Lu family. Don't let people think that my Lu family has no family education and doesn't know how to teach people. Hearing this, Xiaoping looked at the man in white, Lu Liang, as if he was looking at an idiot, and said, Why did you walk out of the house without taking medicine? Do you know that this is harmful to society and is a very irresponsible behavior? What's your home phone number? I'll call and ask your mother to take you home. He wanted to ask for the other party's home phone number. Xiaoping, you've gone too far. Is this the attitude you should have when speaking to your future master? The man in white, Lu Yong, was not an idiot. Naturally, he could tell that Xiaoping was mocking him as mentally ill. Immediately, he felt a burst of anger. Do you know what kind of clan my Lu clan is in Tianshui City? We are a century-old clan with many strong cultivators. Even Qi Muyang's clan is on par with my Lu clan. There are a lot of people out there who want to be my Lu family's dog. Many people are begging for it, but they don't have the chance. I asked you to be my dog because I think highly of you. Otherwise, you, Xiaoping, don't even deserve to carry shoes for me, Lu Yong. You should know how to appreciate favors, understand? He stared at Xiaoping with a lofty attitude, as if he was a relative of the emperor and Xiaoping was just a lowly commoner selling straw sandals. Their statuses were completely different. I don't care if you're from the Lu family or the Gao family. Xiaoping sneered, and his eyes showed a trace of indifference. If someone wants to be a dog for your Lu family, that's their business. If someone wants to eat sh*t, do I have to follow suit and eat sh*t? Not to mention your Tianshui City's Lu family. Even if the Federation president comes down in person and wants to play dumb in front of me, he is not qualified. This Lu family is powerful in Tianshui City and is a century-old clan, but looking at the entire Yanhuang Star, this Lu family is just a local tycoon. To put it bluntly, it's just a country bumpkin. Because there are hundreds of cities like Tianshui City in Yangzhou District, it's not worth mentioning at all. To be able to dominate Tianshui City, it's simply dog sh*t outside. Such a character wants him to bow his head and be a dog. It's simply a joke. He doesn't even know his own weight. Good, very good. The man in white, Lu Yang's face was gloomy to the extreme. I didn't expect a small civilian to dare to be arrogant to this extent. He doesn't even put my Lu family in his eyes. He's only qualified to carry your shoes. You, Xiaoping, are arrogant enough. I'd like to see what you can do to resist the anger of the Gao family. If you refuse this opportunity, then even if you kneel on the ground and beg me, I won't pay attention to you. He was angry to the extreme. He was born 18 years ago and has always been high and mighty. As soon as he was born, he was a member of the Lu family, who didn't respect him and flatter him. Like this, he took the initiative to invite others to be his attendant. This is the first time. For him, he has already given the other party enough face. This is a gift. But this kid didn't give him face and said that he is not qualified. It's too presumptuous. A lowly person dares to talk to him like this? I advise you not to annoy me. Otherwise, you won't be able to resist the anger of the Xia family. The entire Lu family will fall apart because of your stupid behavior. Do you understand? Xiaoping said contemptuously. Lu Yong was stunned. Xia family? Is there such a family in Tianshui City? Saying that you are stupid is a compliment. Of course, the Xia family is my family. It has been around since ancient times. It is a hidden family that never comes out easily. Xiaoping's eyes were incomparably arrogant. Once it comes out, it will set off a reign of terror. Blood will flow like a river. Your insignificant Lu family is just an ant that can be slaughtered overnight. I advise you to go back and keep a low profile. If you don't understand, then don't come out and pretend. Otherwise, you'll provoke people you shouldn't provoke and implicate your father. That's a trap. Do you understand? The eyes of the white-clothed man, Lu Yong, flashed. His heart suddenly became gloomy and a little uncertain. This kid dared to be so arrogant, not afraid of the Lu family and the Gao family. Could it be that he really has a big background? But thinking about it, it was strange. If he was just a commoner with no background, he probably wouldn't dare to talk to him like this. Even if this so-called Xia family is not as powerful as this kid said, it may be more or less have some ability and can't be underestimated. Lu Yong was also born in a big family. He grew up in intrigue from childhood. He was very shrewd and didn't show anything. He coldly snorted. Then I'll wait and see. Dropping this sentence, he turned around and left. In the distance, Chu Rong and Jiang Yaru also saw this scene and immediately ran up. How did you provoke that Lu Liang? Jiang Yaru said. That guy is the strongest person in Tianshui City's second middle school. He is also a contestant in the top 16 this time. He is strong, at least in the 9th layer of martial disciple. And the other party is vengeful and ruthless. Some people in the second middle school call him a poisonous snake, which makes countless students fear him. She had also heard a lot of rumors about the other party. It's okay. I have the Xia family to support me. That guy is just a chicken and a dog. Xiaoping waved his hand. He didn't care at all. Chu Rong was stunned. Xia family? Is there such a powerful family in Tianshui City? Don't listen to this kid's nonsense. Jiang Yaru said angrily. The so-called Xia family is probably only 3 people. His father, mother, and him, Xiaoping. Chu Rong was speechless. The corner of her mouth twitched. Could this even be called a family? Chapter 148. Tianshui City Stadium. At this time, a large number of spectators entered the stadium, almost filling the entire audience seats, densely packed. At least 100,000 people came, an unprecedented grand occasion. After all, this is an annual event in Tianshui City, similar to the Olympic Games. In the middle of the entire stadium, there are 8 huge rings set up, and the top 16 matches will be held at the same time. If they win, the top 8 matches will begin in the afternoon. The schedule of the game is very dense, and there is basically no rest time. This year is really a big upset. I didn't expect that the unknown Tianshui City 95th Middle School would have 2 students enter the top 16 at once. It's incredible. Indeed, I thought that the strongest Tianshui City First Middle School would occupy at least 7 or 8 places, but only 4 places are occupied. It's really shocking. However, the favorite to win the championship is still Qin Muyang of the First Middle School. He has a peak cultivation base of the 9th heaven of martial arts. Looking at all the contestants, no one is his opponent. He is a rare existence. Not necessarily. That dark horse Xiaoping doesn't seem to be simple either. He made trouble in the qualifiers. If it weren't for him, the people of the First Middle School wouldn't have lost so badly. Is that a dark horse? That's called black-hearted. I have never seen anyone worse than him. In short, I don't think that Xiaoping can win a championship. There is no time for him to use tricks in the ring. If you want to win in the ring, you have to rely on strong combat power. If you really fight, that kid is just a wastewood. He will be knocked down by 3 punches and 2 kicks. That's right. It is said that the shameless Xiaoping usually has more than a dozen boats, has many girlfriends, and works day and night. You know that he usually does that thing too much. If that guy wants to win the game, maybe his feet will be soft before he gets out of the arena. Indeed, during the qualifiers, under the watchful eyes of the public, he was still picking up girls and even did some indescribable things with Tianshui City Princess Nangongwu in the room. Such a shameless person can still win. I will eat shit on the spot for you to see. Yes, I will eat too. Many spectators talked about it, and they all felt that the favorite to win the championship must be Qin Muyang. As for the shameless Xiaoping, it is estimated that he will be eliminated in the top 16. After all, if you want to play in the qualifiers, sometimes it does not mean that you have strong combat power. Especially this kid, who purely uses tricks. It is impossible to win in the ring. At this time, in the contestants' lounge, the contestants of the top 16 had all appeared in this place. They were all waiting for the star of the competition. After the opening ceremony, they would go outside to compete. However, the lounge was filled with an unusual atmosphere. It was very oppressive, and everyone was hostile to each other. After all, they were all competitors. Xiaoping glanced at the other participants. He discovered that other than Jiang Yaru and Chu Rong, there were also 4 people from the First Middle School. The rest were experts from the other schools, including Nangongwu. Even Fatty Feng Hetong had obtained a token and advanced to the top 16. The order of the match is out. A staff member walked in and shouted. He took out a piece of white paper and pasted it on the wall. On it were the opponents of the top 16. Xiaoping looked over, and his pupils shrank. His first opponent was actually Lu Liang. Interesting. I didn't expect to meet you in the first game. It's really interesting. Lu Liang glared at Xiaoping fiercely and clenched his fist like a poisonous snake. I will give you a painful lesson in the arena, the kind that you won't forget for the rest of your life. Hearing this, Xia Ping said indifferently, still shouting here? Didn't I give you enough of a lesson just now? Don't you know what's called respect? Did you ask your dad? You dare to provoke me here? To tell you the truth, your Lu family is not qualified. If you want to defeat my Xia family, you're still a few hundred years away. If you have nothing to do, go home and wash up. Don't come here all day to cause trouble. He revealed the appearance of a child from a hidden family. Xia family, my ass. Lu Yang's nose was crooked from anger. In order to investigate this brat's background, he immediately ordered his family to find out whether this brat really had a deep background or not. 10 minutes later, the information came out. He took a look and his face turned green. This guy's so-called Xia family was nothing but a fart. His ancestors for 18 generations were all commoners. His father was a city enforcement officer. His family conditions were extremely ordinary. Even if he had many relatives, none of them were rich. There were only a handful of families with assets of more than $1 million. Even these relatives disdained to associate with Xia Ping's family. They were very unfamiliar with each other. Such a trashy clan dared to call themselves a hidden clan, saying that once they came out into the world, there would be a rain of terror and blood that would flow like rivers. Even his Lu clan was just an ant that could be slaughtered in a single night. He even dared to be so arrogant. Let him go back and ask his father. I'll ask him. Lu Yang was so angry that he smashed a wooden table. He had never been so angry in his life. This was the first time. Thinking that he had really fooled this shameless Xia Ping's words before, Lu Yang was furious. He thought that he was a dignified child of the Lu family, the little overlord of the No. 2 middle school. He was a genius who boasted that he was a genius after Qin Muyang. But now he was fooled by this guy like a fool. If he wasn't cautious, he would have been fooled by this guy. No wonder the people of the No. 1 middle school were played so miserably in the qualifiers. This bastard was a complete collection of despicable and shameless people. This bastard's words couldn't even be trusted with punctuation marks. Xia Ping, you can only be stubborn now. Lu Yang gritted his teeth. When I get in the ring, I'll show you. Let's see if you can still talk at that time. Enjoy the next match. There's still a long time. His eyes revealed a trace of cold light like a viper's, which made people's hearts turn cold. Once he stepped into the ring, he decided to beat this kid half to death. He would break at least half of the more than 200 bones in his body. He must seriously injure this kid and make him lie in the hospital for a few months. Otherwise, his name, Lu Yang, will be written upside down from now on. Seeing this scene, Qin Muyang and others were speechless. When did this Xia Ping offend Lu Yang? It felt like the two of them had formed a life-and-death feud. Looking at Lu Yang gnashing his teeth, it was as if he wanted to pounce on Xia Ping and bite him to death. Who knew what kind of evil thing Xia Ping had done to Lu Yang? Chu Rong and Jiang Yaru also looked at Xia Ping in annoyance. This bastard's ability to cause trouble was too strong. He had offended someone just by going to the toilet. And it wasn't just an ordinary offense, it was a deadly offense. It was as if he was afraid others wouldn't hate him. This is top quality. Nangong was also a bit dazed. Offending Qin Muyang was one thing, but now he actually offended Lu Yang as well. Did this bastard want to offend all the big families in Tianshui City? Big brother is big brother. Too awesome. Feng Hetong was already prostrating himself in admiration towards Xia Ping. He was completely convinced. There was nothing this big brother didn't dare to do. Clang. Chapter 149. In the auditorium. Look, the contestants are coming out. I don't care about anything else. I just want to know when the scumbag Xia Ping will lose the game and be beaten up. Yes, that's why I bought tickets to watch the game live. The opponent of the first game is Lu Yang of the second middle school. It is said that he is a powerhouse at the peak of the 9th heaven of the martial artist. He is second only to Qin Muyang as the favorite to win the championship. He is extremely powerful. Indeed, I have also heard of this kid's reputation. He is famous in the second middle school. He knows the high-level martial arts technique 4 ultimate hands of the spirit snake. His strength is tyrannical, almost no less than Qin Muyang. There were 2 or 3 powerhouses at the 9th heaven of the martial artist realm who besieged him, but they were all beaten down on the spot and sent to the hospital for 3 months. All the bones in his body were broken. No way. He is so fierce against the powerhouses of the same level. It seems that Xia Ping is dead. After all, no matter how strong this kid is, he is only at the 8th heaven of the martial artist realm. Look, he will definitely be beaten very badly and beg for mercy on the ring. Many spectators were talking and watching Xia Ping and other contestants enter the arena. Among them, Xia Ping's popularity was overwhelmingly strong, and many spectators were paying attention. Soon, Xia Ping and Lu Liang stood on the ring, and the other contestants also went to their own competition venues. Xia Ping. Lu Liang stared at Xia Ping, his eyes like a poisonous snake, and said coldly, "There is nowhere for you to escape on the ring. To tell you the truth, even if you beg for mercy now, I will not spare you, absolutely not." He clenched his fists and crackled, showing a powerful strength. "Come on, let me see how much you can do." Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Lu Liang faintly, as if he was a martial arts master. Fart! Lu Liang was so angry that he was still here at this time, pretending to be powerful, as if this kid was stronger than himself. Who doesn't know that this kid is only in the 8th heaven of the martial artist realm? And he is a powerhouse in the 9th heaven of the martial artist realm, with 9 meridians through. His strength is tyrannical, and his combat power is at least twice that of this kid. How dare he say that? If this kind of sentence is said by a powerhouse in the martial artist realm, it is understandable and even taken for granted, but how can a garbage martial artist have the face to say this kind of thing? Begin. With a bang, the referee at the side immediately rang the bronze bell next to the ring, announcing the start of the match. Die. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Liang immediately made his move. He couldn't stand this brat for even a second. He wanted nothing more than to beat this guy up and send him to the hospital for treatment. To think that he, a dignified disciple of the Lu clan, was high and mighty, and no one dared to provoke him. Everyone revered him like a god, but he was actually toyed with by this brat like a fool. If he didn't beat this brat to death, he wouldn't be able to vent his anger. Whoosh! First move of the 4 ultimate hands of the spirit snake. Incomparably tragic chain strikes. As soon as he made his move, Lu Liang emitted a vicious and cruel aura. His body was like a venomous snake. His left hand turned into a snake's head to bite, and his right hand turned into a snake's tail to attack. His body was like a spirit snake that shot out, filled with explosive power. Every inch of his muscles was exploding, and even his clothes seemed to be slightly unable to endure this force, as many cracks appeared. This was the terrifying aspect of the 4 ultimate spiritual serpent hands. Once the enemy was struck, it would be as if a venomous snake had coiled around them and bitten them. Their entire bodies would be torn apart and entangled together, leaving them with nowhere to run. Come on! Xia Ping was unmoved. His spiritual force spread around, and the entire ring seemed to be in his spiritual domain. There was nowhere to hide from any of Lu Liang's movements, and any mystery was clearly seen by him. He gently patted with his palm, which contained a huge force of 10,000 pounds. Boom! The two collided, and a powerful shock immediately broke out, and Lu Liang screamed, and his whole person was knocked back a dozen steps, feeling his blood rolling. But Xia Ping still stood in the same place, motionless. Impossible with such power. Have you been promoted to the 9th heaven of martial disciple? Lu Liang felt this vast and unparalleled power, and his eyes were extremely shocked. No, it's impossible for someone who has just been promoted to the 9th heaven of martial disciple to have this power. You must have been promoted to the 9th heaven of martial disciple realm long ago, but you have been hiding it, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger, in order to amaze the world on the ring. Despicable, you are too despicable. He seemed to see through all the conspiracies of Xia Ping at once, like Zhuge Liang, who knew Cao Cao's strategy well and understood the other party's trick of pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. No, I'd just break through. Xiaoping looked at Lu Liang with a speechless face. In fact, he didn't have so many conspiracies. It was purely a coincidence. He didn't expect to break through in the qualifiers. Lu Liang didn't believe Xiaoping's words at all and shouted, "Don't lie here. Do you think I will be deceived by you? I, Lu Liang, am a smart person. It is absolutely impossible to be deceived by you twice, and I will be deceived a third time. Even if you are a strong man in the ninth heaven of martial disciple, you are still not my opponent." The second style of the four ultimate hands of Spirit Snake: extinction of descendants, extinction of vitality. This move is even more fierce and vicious. When this move is used, it will destroy the enemy's vitality. It can be regarded as a killing move, and it specializes in attacking the enemy's vital points, and the angle is strange and cruel. Go to hell. With a bang, Lu Liang's move broke out in an instant. His feet stepped on the ring, and he actually stepped out 2 deep pits in the footprints at once. The gravel splashed, and the sound of kacha-kacha. Immediately, his feet produced a terrifying propulsion force, as if his feet were equipped with bombs, and they exploded in an instant. His body ejected out like a snake, tearing the air, which was so fast that it was almost invisible to the naked eye. But the naked eye can't see it doesn't mean that the spiritual force can't detect it. Too slow. Xiaoping made a move in vain, and his palm slammed down from the air, accurately slapping Lu Liang's head. No, Lu Liang was scared. He was originally a killing move to attack Xiaoping's vital points. Who could have thought that he would rush over like this? But it was like sending his head to the opponent to slap. Boom! There was a loud noise in the air, and the palm slapped Lu Liang's head fiercely. The huge force hit his body, and, with a bang, his body couldn't bear it at all. All of a sudden, his entire body was slammed into the floor of the arena, forming a deep human-shaped pit. The entire arena was shaking, and even the audience in the distant spectator stands could feel the strong vibration. A few people were even thrown into the air by the impact. With a cracking sound, there were 5 or 6 cracks in the ring, and the scene was extremely amazing. Chapter 150. Yu Lu Liang, lying in the deep pit of the ring, barely raised his head. He felt like a turtle lying on the ground, wanting to move but unable to move. He felt that his body had been hit by this palm. The strength shook, dozens of bones in his body were broken, and there was severe pain all over his body, as if being bitten by countless ants. But how can the physical pain compare to the shame in the heart? To think that he was the strongest person in the second middle school, a strong cultivator in the ninth heaven of the martial disciple realm, a disciple of the Lu family, a self-proclaimed genius martial artist, was actually not this kid's opponent. Moreover, with just one palm, he was defeated and killed like a fly. How could Lu Liang accept the result of such a game? It was simply unacceptable. Lu Liang. Xiaoping condescendingly looked at Lu Liang, who was lying on the ground, and looked at him like this. Before the game started, you said you would give me a good look. Is this what you want to give me? To be honest, you are not qualified at all. Now I have defeated you with one palm and broken dozens of your bones, just to teach you a lesson, to let you know that there are people better than you, and there are people stronger than you. After the game, you will go back to the hospital and be low-key. It is best to live with your tail between your legs and don't make trouble everywhere. Otherwise, if you offend people in the future, even the Lu family can't protect you. His words were like a heavy hammer bombarding Lu Liang's heart. Yu. Lu Liang was mad and his face was red. This shameless bastard was the same age as him, but he dared to educate him in such a condescending way, telling him to live with his tail between his legs in the future. His Lu family is one of the largest families in Tianshui City, with assets of more than 10 billion yuan. His father is the deputy mayor of Tianshui City. Such power is not inferior to the Nangong family and the Qin family, and he, Lu Liang, is the heir of such a Lu family. But now he was actually reprimanded by this bastard as his own follower and told him not to go out and make trouble casually. How can he stand it? Immediately, his lungs were bursting, and his head was almost smoking. Xiaoping, I won't forgive you. I won't forgive you. Die for me. Lu Liang roared. The true qi in his whole body revolved, forcibly stimulating the last of his strength. A terrifying force came from the depths of his body. His whole body suddenly jumped up like a snake. He endured the intense pain in his body and wanted to give Xia Ping a fatal blow. I said, "You're not qualified, so you're not qualified. If you want to challenge me, then you're overestimating yourself." Xia Ping's tone was indifferent. Without even looking, he sent out a palm strike. Bang! This palm solidly slapped on Lu Liang's face, immediately leaving a 5-fingered red mark. His whole body spun 5 or 6 times in the air, letting out a shrill scream. With a smack, his body fell to the ground. Even 2 or 3 of his front teeth were broken. He spat out blood and was sent flying more than 10 meters away. "You!" Lu Liang glared at Xia Ping, and he was finally unable to endure the pain in his body. With a crack, his neck crooked, and he foamed at the mouth before completely fainting. "Oh my God, this Xia Ping actually won." Lu Liang is also a powerhouse at the peak of the 9th heaven of the martial disciple realm. He can kill 3 powerhouses of the same level with his bare hands. He is also a genius, but he was defeated by this kid with 1 palm. He is a bit too strong. No, it's not right. This kid's previous information was only the 8th heaven of the martial disciple realm. But now how did he suddenly become the 9th heaven? How did he become so powerful all of a sudden? Did he take drugs? Take drugs, my ass. If he took drugs, his martial arts foundation is absolutely unstable. How can he be the opponent of the real 9th heaven of the martial disciple? Didn't you hear what Lu Liang said just now? This guy is pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He deliberately concealed his cultivation and wanted to amaze the world in the ring. Sure enough, he saw the effect here. Despicable, this Xia Ping is too despicable. His despicable nature has penetrated into the bone marrow. It is estimated that Lu Liang didn't think of this. He was frightened by the power that this kid suddenly showed. He panicked for a moment and didn't expect to be hit. 1 move lost. The whole game is lost. It's the same as playing chess. Shameless Xia Ping. This was calculated by him. Lu Liang lost too unjustly. Many spectators were talking about it. They were all angry at Xia Ping's despicable calculation. They thought that if Xia Ping hadn't concealed his cultivation, it was estimated that Lu Liang would not have panicked and lost the game because of carelessness. Seeing this scene, the students of the first middle school were also in an uproar. Damn, this kid is really a powerhouse in the 9th heaven of the martial disciple realm. Fortunately, Big Brother Qin went to test it before, otherwise he would have been calculated by this kid. Shameless Xia Ping, there are schemes everywhere. How can there be such a despicable person in 95th middle school? This kind of scheme can't be put on the table at all. Once it is exposed, it is nothing more than this. Indeed, under absolute strength, this kid is simply vulnerable. That's right. You must know that Big Brother Qin is more than several times stronger than before. Once this kid and Big Brother Qin go against each other, he will definitely die miserably, very miserably. All the students of the first middle school gnashed their teeth and stared at Xia Ping. They were all eliminated because of Xia Ping's scheme. It was conceivable how angry they were with Xia Ping. All of them wished that someone could defeat Xia Ping immediately and eliminate this kid. Unfortunately, Lu Liang, who had high hopes, was defeated by a palm and completely ruined their hope. This game, Xia Ping wins. Seeing Lu Liang fall to the ground and completely unconscious, the referee next to him immediately announced the result of the game. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Under the ring, several doctors in white coats immediately rushed up. Their movements were very fast and skillful. They immediately dragged the unconscious Lu Liang away and pulled him down for emergency treatment. 1. I didn't expect Xia Ping to win. I didn't expect that someone in our school could enter the top 8. In the history of the entire Tianshui City to 95th Middle School, there are only a handful of people. Of course, there has never been a champion. Do you think this Xia Ping has a chance to win the championship? Impossible. Qin Muyang is too strong. This Xia Ping is simply vulnerable in front of such a genius. Even so, this Xia Ping could be considered to have made history. Damn it, I didn't expect that the guy who created the history of 95th Middle School was actually a scumbag who stepped on more than a dozen boats. I don't know if this is an honor or a black history. When the students of Tianshui City 95th Middle School saw this scene, they all seemed to have overturned the bottle of flavors. There were all kinds of ups and downs, and they didn't know what to feel. Although they despised this guy's character very much, they had to admit that it was amazing that Xia Ping could come this far. I didn't expect that when we talked on the road, he said that he was going to be admitted to Yanhuan University. At first, I thought it was a joke, but now it seems that it may come true. Chapter 151. Ding Ling Ling. Just as Xia Ping was preparing for the quarterfinals in the afternoon, his father, Xia Chuanlu, suddenly called. "Hello, Dad, what's the matter?" Xia Ping took out his cell phone and answered. Xia Chuanlu shouted, "Son, congratulations on entering the quarterfinals. I just want to ask you one thing. Do you have a chance to win the championship this time?" "Of course there is a chance, but why do you ask about this?" Xia Ping asked curiously. Xia Chuanlu smiled. "Son, you don't know. This year's Tianshui City High School fighting competition has been favored by the betting company. Because it is very popular, almost the whole city is paying attention to it. So the betting company opened to bet on who will win the championship. The lowest odds are Qin Muyang, 1 o'clock, 5, and the highest is Yu 110. Hearing this, Xia Ping blinked his eyes and said, "Dad, do you want to gamble?" "Of course." Xia Chuanlu said excitedly, "If I bet on you to win, it's 110. Although your father is poor, he has accumulated for 20 years and has at least 200,000 or 300,000 in savings. If I win this time, I will get 3 million federal coins. There is no such good opportunity to make money now. After that, your mother and I will travel around the world and play as much as we want." He was proud of himself. "But you're the family of the contestants. Isn't it against the rules to gamble like this?" Xia Ping said. Xia Chuanlu shook his head. "Don't worry. As long as I bet on you to win, it's not against the rules." "Okay, then let's bet. I have the confidence to win the championship." Xia Ping said confidently. Xia Chuanlu immediately said, "I know you are very good, son. Then I will believe you this time." After that, he hung up the phone excitedly, probably planning to bet. Betting company. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. With a beep, he immediately turned on his mobile phone, virtual projection, and immediately searched for the Tianshui City Betting Company page. There was indeed gambling on this Tianshui City High School fighting competition, and it was also very popular. Many people left messages on this page, seemingly guessing who would win the championship. He glanced at the odds. As expected, he had the highest odds. No one was optimistic about him winning the championship. Even if he defeated Lu Liang, the odds did not change at all. By the way, the Heavenly Water City Gambling Company is a legitimate company that has been recognized by the federal government. It is said that they are extremely wealthy and have a market value of tens of billions of federal coins. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. If that's the case, it's not strange that the people in this company know that Qin Muyang has advanced to the martial warrior realm. If that was the case, it was no wonder that the odds had not changed at all. After all, it was simply impossible for a martial disciple to defeat a martial disciple. The odds for him to win were 1 to 10, which was understandable. Interesting. Xia Ping clenched his fists. This is a great opportunity to make a fortune. If I throw 40 million federal dollars down and win, wouldn't I have to compensate me 400 million federal dollars? How many books would I have to sell to earn it back? I'll bet. I have to bet. To be honest, he was also tempted. No one would dislike having too much money, especially when there was a chance to easily earn hundreds of millions of federal dollars. Only a fool would give up. Moreover, the Heavenly Water City Gambling Company was a legitimate company. They would never renege on their debts, and there was no need to worry about the other party not being able to pay after the bet. Of course, if the bet was too high, the gambling company would probably refuse. 40 million federal dollars happened to be a number that was neither too high nor too low. Even if there was compensation, the other party could afford it. Thinking of this, Xia Ping immediately logged into the website and quickly registered. Then he bound his ID card, bank card, and signed a contract with the effect of federal law. Ding! He immediately bet $40 million federal dollars that he would win the competition. After doing all this, Xiaoping let out a sigh of relief. He clenched his fists. It seemed that it was impossible for him not to win the championship this time. He couldn't let these $40 million federal dollars go to waste. Moreover, once he won the championship of the fighting competition, he would receive huge benefits. $400 million federal dollars was a fortune that many people couldn't earn in their entire lives. At this time, at the headquarters of the Tianshui City Gambling Company, an employee immediately received the huge bet. "Boss, someone bet $40 million federal dollars that Xiaoping will win," an employee exclaimed. Is he crazy? He clearly knows that the kid's chances of winning are zero. He's just throwing his money away. As an internal employee, he naturally knew Qin Muyang's true strength. There was no doubt that he would win this competition. Haha, too stupid. The boss of the gambling company next to him said proudly, "This is simply giving us money. We got $40 million federal dollars for nothing. How can there be such a simple business in the world that can make money? This can only be gambling." "Boss, I think it's better to be careful." The other party dared to bet $40 million federal dollars. "I reckon that his background isn't small. He might know some inside information," another vice president said vigilantly. He was a more cautious person. "Inside information, my ass. Is there anyone who knows more inside information than us?" The boss of the gambling company said disdainfully, "I believe you also know that Qin Muyang is a martial artist. This is already a strength that surpasses the other contestants. How can he lose? If this Qin Muyang was a commoner, perhaps I would be worried that he might cheat, accept bribes, and pretend to lose to other contestants. But Qin Muyang is a member of the Qin family. His assets are over 10 billion. Would he care about this little bit of money? Is it worth it to risk losing the entire Qin family's face for a little reputation?" He analyzed one by one, full of confidence. "Boss, we know the identity of the person who bet. It's Xiaoping. That guy bet on himself." The employee continued to investigate and also found out the identity of the person who bet. "It's actually Xiaoping. That kid is said to be a commoner. His father is just a city enforcement officer. How can he take out $40 million federal dollars?" The vice president was dumbfounded and in disbelief. "Haha, it's actually Xiaoping." The boss of the gambling company laughed out loud. "One idiot. Who cares where he got so much money from? Anyway, this kid is giving us money. How can we not accept it? This kid probably saw that our company thought that his chances of winning were slim and the odds were very high. He was indignant and threw $40 million federal dollars over. Young people are young people. Our Tianshui City Gambling Company can exist for hundreds of years and make a lot of profits every year. How can we not have some tricks? In order to obtain accurate odds, we even clearly investigated how many pieces of toilet paper the contestants used each time they went to the toilet. This kid still wants to overturn the heavens. He wants to give us money, so we'll fulfill his wish." The others also nodded. No one thought that this kid could win. Xiaoping was probably so confident because he thought that Qin Muyang, who was at the same level as him, was no match for him. That was why he was so indignant and thought that he could get a big bargain. Chapter 152. In the afternoon, the top 8. Xiaoping stood on the stage and looked at his opponent. It was Jiang Yaru. He didn't expect Jiang Yaru to be able to defeat an opponent at the 9th heavenly layer and advance to the top 8. After all, Jiang Yaru had only just advanced to the 8th heavenly layer. It could only be said that Jiang Yaru's aptitude was more powerful than he imagined. Challenging someone at a higher level was a piece of cake. Even Chu Rong was the same. She also defeated an expert from the first middle school and successfully advanced to the top 8. However, her opponent in the top 8 was Qin Muyang, so she basically had no hope of advancing to the top 4. "I've finally waited for the chance to fight you." Jiang Yaru's beautiful eyes were full of fighting spirit as she stared at Xiaoping. Although this bastard was hated by everyone in school, she had to admit that his strength was indeed very amazing. She had clearly seen this when she was in the Beast Island trial. That group of vicious and cruel criminals were all beheaded by this man. This was not something that an ordinary martial artist could do. But she was unwilling. She was clearly stronger than this guy before, but now he had actually surpassed her. How could Jiang Yaru be convinced? And she had this confidence. Even if Xia Ping advanced to the 9th heavenly layer, she was confident that she could defeat him. The previous opponent was also an expert at the 9th heavenly layer, but didn't he still lose to her? Sorry. Xia Ping looked at Jiang Yaru. I can't lose to you this time. After all, I still have to make money to support my family. So this time, you should obediently admit defeat. If you want to force it, it's fine. I will be gentle and won't hurt you. His eyes were extremely serious. After all, he had bet 40 million federal coins this time. Once he won, he would get 400 million federal coins. No matter what, he couldn't lose. Hearing this, the surrounding audience was in an uproar. What's going on? Why do I feel like something's wrong when I hear this conversation? Indeed. What do you mean I will be gentle and won't hurt you? Isn't this what I said when I went to get a room with my girlfriend for the first time? Could it be that these two were flirting on the stage? Hooking up with each other? There's still a need to hook up with these two. They've been together for a long time. You may not know that these two are boyfriend and girlfriend. No way. Didn't they say that this Xia Ping and Nangong Wu had an affair? They even booked a room during the qualifiers. What's the big deal? I heard that the woman is pregnant for 3 months. What a beast. Isn't he just a high school student? Impregnated your girlfriend? Do you still have any humanity left? No wonder he told me to be gentle. He's afraid of affecting the fetus. Many spectators discussed animatedly. They were all shocked by this gossip. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that the man and woman on the arena were in a relationship. Moreover, they were 3 months pregnant. What kind of explosive news was this? When some of the reporters heard this news, their eyes lit up and they were extremely excited. This was big news. A high school girl was pregnant, and she was even a contestant in the quarterfinals, a top student in the school. This kind of news, no matter which one it was, would be explosive and would definitely bombard the entire Tianshui city. At that time, wouldn't the click rate of their news website rise steadily? A promotion, a raise, and a year-end bonus were all in the cards. They even thought of the headlines. Shocking. High school girl pregnant. Father unknown. Male contestant in the quarterfinals abandoned. Pregnant girl chased up to the arena. Ridiculous. Who's at fault for getting pregnant before marriage? The sad song of an underage girl. One corpse with 2 lives. Girlfriend's revenge in the arena. Jiang Yaru heard the surrounding crowd's words and was immediately angered half to death. Her charming face turned red as she glared at this hateful Xia Ping. It was all because of this bastard's nonsense that she ended up like this. It seemed that in this arena competition, not only did she have to defeat this bastard, she also had to ruthlessly teach him a lesson. Otherwise, he wouldn't know what to say and what not to say. Match start. The referee immediately announced the star of the match. Boom! As soon as the referee finished speaking, Jiang Yaru made her move. Her first move was like a thunderbolt. High-level martial skill, 1,000 Buddha palms. In the blink of an eye, her body had transformed into thousands of palms, real and fake. She was like a Buddha, exuding a sacred, solemn, and dignified aura. A terrifying force surged from her feet, and when she stomped down, 2 deep footprints appeared. A terrifying force exploded out, setting off a fierce gale in the entire arena. Amazing, this girl has actually learned the 1,000 Buddha palms. How is that possible? It's said that even among the countless high-level martial skills, this 1,000 Buddha palms is enough to rank in the top 10. Its power is tyrannical, and once learned, jumping levels to challenge is a piece of cake. No wonder she could easily defeat a 9th heavenly layer martial disciple before. Once she uses this 1,000 Buddha palms, the 1,000 hands will fuse together and countless forces will be blended together. With a single palm strike, the power is more than 10 times stronger than ordinary martial skills. That 9th heavenly layer martial disciple from before was like this. He was hit by a palm strike and let out a blood-curdling scream. Over a dozen of his ribs were broken, and he couldn't resist at all. But it's too difficult to learn this martial skill. Just the complexity of the moves alone is enough to make a person's head explode. It's hard to even remember it, let alone learn it. Without peerless talent, you can't even understand it at all. Such a character is actually just a student of the 95th high school. It's not surprising even if he went to the first high school. Many of the audience were shocked. They didn't expect Jiang Yaru to be able to use such a powerful martial skill. Martial arts cultivation is not the same as literature. In literature, there are 1,000 Hamlets in 1,000 people. Everyone's taste is different, and different people have different opinions on the good and bad of different works. But whether martial arts cultivation is strong or not, it's clear at a glance, and there's no way to fake it. Boom! When the countless palms on Jiang Yaru's body merged together, the power almost reached its peak. In an instant, she stepped out and faced forward towards Xia Ping's chest with a palm, tearing the air. Dong! This palm hit Xia Ping's chest solidly, like a morning bell and evening drum, bursting out with a crisp and sweet sound, and the ground of the arena was shaken by the terrifying force. And the ground under Xia Ping's feet also shook out a deep pit, making a cracking sound. The power of such a palm, even an ordinary ninth heaven martial disciple powerhouse, can't resist it. One palm could be slapped out, directly injuring the lungs and breaking the ribs. Damn, this girl is ruthless. Is it because this shameless Xia Ping abandoned her, and now that she finally found the opportunity, she used this palm to beat Xia Ping half to death? Is this the legendary love turned into hate? A group of people were shocked and dumbfounded. They could all see that this move was by no means fake. It was a peak blow, comparable to the full blow of a ninth heaven martial disciple powerhouse. What? The audience was shocked, but Jiang Yaru was even more shocked than them. That was because his peak palm strike had landed on Xia Ping's body. The palm strike of the 1,000 Buddha palms was incomparably ferocious, but it was as if he had struck a ball of cotton. Chapter 153. How is this possible? Jiang Yaru couldn't believe her eyes at all. She was extremely confident in her own strength. Even if she faced a real ninth heaven of martial disciple realm expert, she had the confidence to fight. In the top 16 competition, she defeated the opponent in 3 moves, which was proof. But when her peak blow hit this man, the other party was not affected at all, and he couldn't even take a few steps back. Although when she was on Beast Island, she had seen the power of this man's body protection art. At that time, the last blow of the Cheetah Group leader, Lin Bao, could not cause any damage to him. But without experiencing it herself, she couldn't imagine the despair Lin Bao felt before his death. This kind of body protection art was too abnormal and unreasonable. What? Not convinced? I stand here and let you hit me, but you can't make me take half a step back? Xia Ping looked at Jiang Yaru with a smile, showing a calm and composed look. He also admitted that Jiang Yaru was indeed a genius. The fact that she could learn the Buddha's 1,000 Buddha hands was enough to prove the strength of this woman. The previous ninth heaven of martial disciple realm contestant losing the game was not an injustice. But if she wanted to break through the defense of his Dark North body protection art, she didn't know how far away it was. At least when she was promoted to the martial warrior realm, she would probably be qualified to try. Damn, I don't believe that your defense is really so invincible. Jiang Yaru was unwilling, biting her lips with her white teeth, and her eyes showed a raging fire of fighting intent. The Buddha's 1,000 Buddha hands. Buddha lights 1,000 lamps. Her hands danced, and her white palms seemed to emit a layer of white light, containing terrifying power. Endless true qi gathered in her palms, producing extremely terrifying destructive power. At this moment, her body seemed to be covered with a layer of white light, looking incomparably sacred, as if people could hear a Buddha singing. Bang, bang, bang. In just a breath, Jiang Yaru's thousands of palms bombarded Xia Ping's body, making a series of explosive sounds, cracking the eardrum and shaking the ring. A lot of dust immediately appeared all around, covering the sky and the sun, covering the entire ring. The surrounding audience were all dumbstruck, scared half to death. Could it be that this girl really wanted to kill Xia Ping? If that was the case, wouldn't she be murdering her husband? Even a ninth heavenly layer martial disciple would be beaten to a pulp. The contestant who had lost to Jiang Yaru previously still felt a little unconvinced, thinking that he had lost because of his carelessness. However, when he saw the profound meaning of this martial skill, he was so scared that he peed his pants. His face turned pale. If this woman had used this move on the arena just now, he would probably have to stay in a hospital for a month. Even the nutrient solution would not be able to shorten the treatment time. Enough! Xiaoping stretched out his hand, and with a bang, he pierced through the countless palm projections to block Jiang Yaru's attack. Grabbing her, he pulled her into his arms. Bastard, what do you want? Jiang Yaru was both embarrassed and angry at the same time. Her face was completely red, almost like a tomato. She wanted to struggle with all her might, but Xiaoping's strength was just too great. He held her tightly, making it impossible for her to break free. Most importantly, in order to use the profound meaning of the 1,000 Buddha hands, she had exhausted all the true qi in her body. Her entire body was weak and powerless. After all, this kind of profound meaning, even if she had advanced to the 9th heavenly layer of the martial disciple realm, she could only barely use it. Now that she used it like this, it consumed all the strength in her body and consumed her blood. It was precisely because he saw this that Xiaoping stopped her. Otherwise, after this move was used, Jiang Yaru would probably be unable to move for a week, lying on a hospital bed. You're still asking me what I want. Xiaoping stared at Jiang Yaru. You clearly don't have the strength to use this move, but you still forced it to. Do you want to ruin your martial Dao career? Even if you want to be strong, you still have to know your own limits. Understand? His tone was extremely harsh. Aye. Jiang Yaru felt very guilty. She also knew that she shouldn't have used this move, but thinking that she couldn't even make Xiaoping take half a step back, how could she be willing? All of a sudden, blood rushed to her head, and she used this move. She couldn't control her emotions at all. At this time, the smoke dissipated, immediately revealing the scene on the arena. Many of the audience immediately saw Jiang Yaru like a little bird, her face red, being hugged by Xiaoping. Holy shit! In these few short seconds, just what happened? One of the audience was dumbfounded. Just now, she was fighting to the death, and now she's like a little bird, and even hugging. This is too unscientific. I thought it was an illusion. Indeed, just now this girl's moves were so fierce, like a violent bear, but now she's like a little bird. How can a woman change so much? It's very unscientific. I just want to know what method this Xiaoping used. Did he drug her? To be able to control an out-of-control female T-Rex is no less difficult than controlling a nuclear bomb that is about to explode. I feel the same. Many of the audience were discussing, all looking at the scene on the arena in shock, completely unable to understand the situation. Amazing. The young people these days are amazing. Their methods of training women have reached the acme of perfection. An uncle sighed. Just now it was obvious that this woman was jealous, and she was throwing a tantrum, but this kid is still not afraid. He has long seen through the nature of women. As soon as he makes his move, he hugs the woman so she can't struggle, and then gives her a wet kiss, kissing her until she can't think, and then all her anger is gone, and everything is settled. For some unreasonable women, one kiss is enough. If it really doesn't work, then 2 kisses. If it still doesn't work, then he can only use his ultimate weapon, directly rolling into sheets. He revealed an experienced look, as if he had completely seen through the truth of the matter. Uncle, you look like you have a lot of experience. The surrounding people were very impressed. This kind of method was not something people like them, who didn't have a girlfriend, could understand. They only knew how to buy gifts to coax people. The uncle waved his hand, his face full of sorrow. Well said, well said. Back in the day, I was also the most handsome man in school, an unparalleled ferocious man with a foot on a dozen boats. But then one mistake caused everlasting sorrow, and I married a 300-pound wife. The corner of his eyes turned red, as if he had remembered something that he couldn't bear to recall. Uncle, I have wine here. I want to hear how you lost your footing. Say it. Say it, and let us be happy. What is there to be depressed about? If you don't spit it out, you won't feel happy. I am willing to listen. Some of the audience were very gossipy looking at the uncle in front of them. Chapter 154. Cough, cough. Seeing that Xia Ping and Jiang Yaru were still hugging each other, the judge couldn't stand it anymore. He coughed a few times and said, "You two, if you want to show off your love, please go somewhere else. This is the arena, and the competition is still ongoing. Pay attention to your image." He very tactfully reminded the two. In an instant, Jiang Yaru's face turned red like a tomato. She also realized how unbearable her current position was in front of others. And this was a live broadcast. Wouldn't her actions be known by everyone in Tianshui City? Bastard. Jiang Yaru was half dead from anger. She was extremely embarrassed and angry. She punched Xia Ping's chest. If it weren't for this guy, she wouldn't have lost face in front of so many people. Unfortunately, her body was weak right now. This kind of punch was more like a spoiled child. Oh my God, do people still want to live? Flirting in the arena. Why are the high school students nowadays so shameless? Is there a teacher who can control this? This is puppy love. Hurry up and catch them and criticize them. Make them write letters of regret. Too cute. Why does this shameless Xia Ping have such a cute girlfriend? All the women in the world have been stolen by scum men. There's no way for us honest people to live. Explode. I pray to the heavens that Xia Ping immediately explodes. Many people in the audience were howling in grief and anger. Some men even wanted to go up and beat Xia Ping up. This kind of action brought them a lot of harm. Hearing these words, Jiang Yaru was even more embarrassed. She turned to the judge and said, I admit defeat." At this point, she also knew that she couldn't win against Xia Ping. She might as well admit defeat. Otherwise, if she continued on the arena, who knew how many people would gossip about her? Xia Ping wins. Hearing this, the judge immediately announced the result. "Bastard, hurry up and let me go," Jiang Yaru said to Xia Ping in anger. She pushed him away and angrily walked off the arena, quickly leaving the audience's line of sight. Xia Ping shrugged. He could only let Jiang Yaru leave by herself. After another hour, the winners of the quarterfinals were decided one after another. The winners were Qin Muyang, Nangong Wu, a student from the first middle school, and Xia Ping. In the end, Chu Rong lost to Qin Muyang and was eliminated from the top 8. His opponent in the semifinals is Nangong Wu. This is interesting. Xia Ping looked at the order of the matches and immediately discovered that his opponent in the semifinals tomorrow was Nangong Wu. If he defeated Nangong Wu, he would meet Qin Muyang in the finals. The second day arrived quickly, and the semifinals were about to begin. At this time, the entire Tianshui City audience was paying attention. After all, this was the semifinals, and the real finals would be held in the afternoon. The champion of this year's fighting competition would be decided. In addition, the betting companies were adding fuel to the fire, constantly placing advertisements on television and increasing the publicity, causing this year's competition to be unprecedentedly popular. Countless viewers were paying close attention to it. On the stage, Xia Ping and Nangong Wu looked at each other. Xia Ping. Nangong Wu looked at Xia Ping in front of her with a very calm expression, as if she had completely forgotten what happened in the qualifiers. "You are indeed powerful. According to my current martial arts cultivation, I'm probably not your opponent." After seeing Xia Ping compete a few times, coupled with the collision in the qualifiers, although Nangong Wu was very confident in herself, she also knew that she was not this man's opponent. This was not because she felt inferior, but because she knew her limits. "So I admit defeat in this match." At this point, Nangong Wu turned her head and said to the referee, "Admit defeat." Xia Ping blinked his eyes, not knowing how to react. When the referee heard this, he was dumbfounded. They were already in the semifinals, but there was actually someone who admitted defeat before the fight began. This was unprecedented. After all, no matter how weak he was, he had to try to know. The protagonist of this competition is not me. I'm looking forward to your encounter with Qin Muyang. Who is stronger? Nangong Wu took a deep look at Xia Ping. Ignoring the referee, she turned around and left the ring, choosing to admit defeat. Seeing this, the referee had no choice but to announce, "Nangong Wu admits defeat. Xia Ping wins." Suddenly, the audience in the arena and even the audience on TV exploded in disbelief. Admit defeat? Nangongwu actually chose to admit defeat. The fight hasn't even started. Is this a joke? It's a shady business. There's definitely a shady business here. Let me tell you, someone has already revealed that Nangongwu is this Xiaoping's girlfriend. In the qualifiers, she couldn't bear the loneliness and directly got a room with him. The two have been together for a long time. How could they fight? And this Nangongwu isn't this shameless Xiaoping's only girlfriend. That Jiang Yar from 95th High is also one. He even had a dozen or so girlfriends. Scumbag to the extreme. It's already too much to have a girlfriend, but he actually has more than a dozen. Is this bastard even human? The reason why there are so many bachelors in our generation is because of this person who occupies the latrine but doesn't shit in it. These words are crude, aren't they? The audience was in an uproar. Everyone was shouting that there was an inside story. The crowd was surging. Damn it. In the quarterfinals, he met the number 1 girlfriend. In the semifinals, he met the number 2 girlfriend. Why is this brat's life so good? He's basically guaranteed to enter the finals. There's no justice in this world. What kind of competition is this? It's basically a girlfriend exhibition. Does no one care about this kind of blatant cheating? In the long run, is there still any fairness in this high school dueling competition? Maybe this Xiaoping is the predetermined champion. Even a mayor has been bribed. Doesn't that mean that Qin Muyang will lose for sure? Even the Qin family submitted to this brat's power. Just what is this brat's background? Could he be the president's son? I heard that his father is a city enforcement officer. He has a government background. Many of the audience were discussing. Some of the people who had bet on Nangongwu to win were even more furious. This time, all their money had gone down the drain. How could they not be angry? They even had thoughts of killing Xiaoping. However, there were also people who had investigated Xiaoping's background. He was a completely ordinary person. Many people's families were even better off than his. They were all dumbfounded. They didn't know how this brat managed to cheat in the competition. Could it be that he relied purely on the abilities of a gigolo? Did he rely on living off women to reach this level? If that was the case, then his ability to pick up girls was a bit too strong. But no matter what, they couldn't stop Xiaoping from advancing to the finals. In the afternoon, everyone's attention was focused on the finals of this high school dueling competition. Qin Muyang had also defeated his opponent and successfully advanced to the finals. Chapter 155. On the arena of the finals, everyone was watching. Xiaoping. Qin Muyang stared at Xiaoping, standing in front of him, his eyes red. Finally, the match between you and me is here. Very good, very good. You were not defeated by others, but stood in front of me and scathed. This is worthy of praise. Do you know how long I have endured waiting for this opportunity? 2 days, a full 2 days. I have never endured for so long in my life. But in order to defeat you in front of the entire Tianshui city and completely trample you under my feet, I still endured. He would never forget the humiliation this bastard brought to him in the qualifiers. If it weren't for this guy called Xiaoping, Qin Muyang wouldn't have been beaten up so badly. He would have been ganged up on by dozens of people and beaten into a pig's head. Even his own father wouldn't have been able to recognize him. Not to mention that this guy actually dared to seduce Nangongwu in front of so many people and make a scandal. Who in the entire Tianshui city didn't know that he liked Nangongwu? Nangongwu had long become his exclusive, but this kid actually dared to let Nangongwu dance alone for him. This was simply wearing a green hat on his head. If Qin Muyang could still endure such humiliation, he would be a tortoise for 10,000 years. Who would look up to him? Qin Muyang, and who would give face to the Qin family. Although I understand what you are feeling right now, it is impossible for you to defeat me. I will definitely win this match. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Qin Muyang calmly. He had the bearing of a grandmaster. Definitely win? Hearing this, Qin Muyang immediately laughed. He laughed very loudly. Who gave you such confidence? Do you really think you are invincible after defeating a few experts in the 9th heaven of the martial disciple realm and defeating trash like Lu Liang? Do you not even put me, Qin Muyang, in your eyes? Boom, As soon as his voice fell, an extremely powerful aura erupted from his body. A terrifying force erupted from his feet, instantly shattering the arena and forming two huge deep pits. A terrifying wave of primary energy spread out from Qin Muyang's body, seemingly covering his entire body. His aura kept rising, and he looked like a small mountain, twisting the air around him. It can't be. Qin Muyang can actually release his vital energy. Could he have advanced to the martial warrior realm? A knowledgeable audience member immediately jumped up in shock, looking at Qin Muyang's actions in disbelief. According to his knowledge, only a martial realm expert was capable of accomplishing this. He has advanced to the martial artist realm? No way. Is this Qin Muyang a pervert? He's only a high school student, yet he has already advanced to the martial warrior realm. This is heaven-defying. An audience member was also shocked. They all knew how difficult it was to advance to the martial warrior realm and achieve the ability to release true energy. Even ordinary martial artists would need to spend decades before they had the opportunity to break through. Some people might not even have a chance in their entire lives. They could only be stuck in this realm, unable to break through in this lifetime. However, Qin Muyang had broken through to the martial artist realm at the age of 18. If this was not heaven-defying, what was? No wonder Qin Muyang is so confident. It turns out that he has advanced to the martial warrior realm. This Xia Ping is finished. No matter how heaven-defying his strength is, it is simply impossible for him to defeat a martial warrior realm expert. Not to mention defeating him, it would be amazing if he could even hurt a hair of a martial warrior realm expert. This Xia Ping is finished. He will be defeated by Qin Muyang with one punch. There is no hope of winning at all. Poor Xia Ping. With his ability to pick up girls, he smoothly advanced all the way to the finals. He originally thought that he could shine, but he did not expect to encounter a peerless genius, Qin Muyang. The gap is too big. He was completely crushed. As expected of the #1 high school in Tianshui City, it is indeed a king's school. Its foundation is too deep. It is simply a dream for other schools to win the championship. The chances are almost zero. Many of the audience were shocked again and again. They were completely shocked by the strength that Qin Muyang had displayed. What did an 18-year-old martial artist realm expert mean? He was a future martial arts grandmaster with a promising future. He was a rare genius that only appeared once in a decade. And this Qin Muyang was such a genius. Shameless. The gambling company is extremely shameless. No wonder the odds of Qin Muyang winning are so low. It seems that they have long known Qin Muyang's true strength, so they did this. I said that the gambling company's odds of Qin Muyang winning are so low. There's indeed something fishy about it. It is more difficult to make money from this gambling company than to ascend to heaven. The older, the wiser. I was cheated by the gambling company again. I originally thought that I could win with a small bet this time. I wanted to bet on Xia Ping to win and get 10 times the bonus. I didn't expect to lose again. If you want to cheat money from the gambling company, you might as well rob it. Gambling is harmful. If you gamble for a lifetime, it will bring disaster to 3 generations of your family. Everyone should take this as a warning. A group of gamblers was shouting and cursing. All of their faces were green. They were all people who had bet on Xia Ping to win. They originally wanted to make a lot of money, but they did not expect to be cheated. However, there were also some people who bet on Qin Muyang to win. After all, the odds were laid out, and many people knew that there was something fishy about it. Now it seemed that it was true. Qin Muyang hid his strength and was promoted to the martial warrior realm. Seeing this scene, the boss of the gambling company and others were all triumphant. This time they made a lot of money. It seems that Xia Ping lost this time. Below the audience, Chu Rong, Jiang Yaru, and others shook their heads and sighed. If everyone was a powerhouse in the 9th heaven of martial disciple, they might still be able to fight, but the gap between the martial disciple realm and the martial warrior realm is too big. The attack power of the true Qi alone is more than 10 times stronger. How can they fight? It's simply bullying the noobs. It's fate. Xia Ping can only blame himself for encountering a monster. It's not the fault of the battle. The head teacher, Qiu Xiu, also shook her head. Although it was a little regretful, Xiaoping being able to go to the final was far beyond her expectations. Even if he lost the game here, it was enough to win supreme glory for 95th High School. Haha, this shameless Xiaoping finally lost. Great, finally someone can stop this bastard. If we really let this guy win the championship, I don't know how far he will go. When we go back to school, there will be no place for us. Wouldn't all of us have to rely on his breath to survive? Fortunately, there are still capable people in Tianshui City. We can't let this bastard continue to be arrogant. God has eyes, God has a spirit. Xiong Batian and others who have been harmed by Xiaoping all looked up to the sky and sighed, tears streaming down their faces. Finally, there was a righteous man who stood up to stop this bastard. What a blessing it was. Chapter 156. At this time, in a VIP room of the Tianshui City Stadium, a group of big shots was watching the competition. They watched the arena through the video and just watched quietly. When they saw Qin Muyang reveal his martial warrior realm cultivation, they were all shocked. He was only 18 years old, but he had already advanced to the martial warrior realm. This kind of cultivation was really amazing. Mayor Qin, your son is amazing. He will definitely become a martial Dao grandmaster in the future. It will be easy for him to strengthen the Qin family. Several Tianshui City family patriarchs said to Mayor Qin Fei. Compared to their descendants, the gap was too big. You're too kind, you're too kind. It's just an insignificant achievement. It's not worth mentioning, it's not worth mentioning. Hearing this, Mayor Qin Fei was very proud of himself. He felt very comfortable in his heart, but he still spoke humbly. Because there's a real big shot here. In front of such a big shot, if he was too arrogant at this time, he was afraid that he would leave a bad impression. Indeed, he is talented. The white-clothed old man sitting in front nodded slightly. Even though he had seen countless genius martial artists, he also admitted that Qin Muyang was talented and would have a good future. Thank you for the praise, Elder Fong. Mayor Qin Fei was immediately overjoyed. If his son was favored by Elder Fong, he would probably immediately fly up the branch and become a phoenix. His future was probably boundless. The other Tianshui City family patriarchs were all envious and jealous. They could actually get Elder Fong's praise, but they couldn't do anything about it. Who asked them to not have such an outstanding descendant? At this time in the arena, hearing the cheers of the audience around him, Qin Muyang was even more proud. He looked up to the sky and shouted, "Do you hear this? Do you hear this kind of cheers? Do you hear this kind of support? Xiaoping, you are simply evil. Defeating you here is what everyone is looking forward to. You are such an antagonist. And I, Qin Muyang, will completely defeat you and become a hero. I will be the focus of everyone's attention and become the champion." He had already written his script. In front of the countless spectators of Tianshui City, he would completely defeat Xiaoping, trample him to death, humiliate Xiaoping's dignity, beat him like a dead dog, and display his invincible martial arts cultivation base. He would let the entire Tianshui City know, and most importantly, let Nangong Wu know what kind of man was worthy of her and what kind of man was qualified to stand by her side. Want to defeat me? You need to have the ability to do so. Xiaoping looked at Qin Muyang indifferently. He was unmoved and still looked as calm as ever. You're still pretending? Seeing that Xiaoping was still as calm as ever, Qin Muyang was instantly enraged. He thought that this brat was still pretending to be cool at a time like this. This made him extremely angry. However, he also knew that some people were like this. They would not shed tears until they saw the coffin, and Xiaoping was also such a person. Xiaoping, do you know what the warrior realm is? Qin Muyang looked up to the sky and roared. His face was ferocious. Through the Baihui acupoint, releasing true qi, 100 steps divine fist, true qi is incomparably dense. His strength is more than 10 times stronger than the martial disciple realm. This is the martial disciple realm, possessing strength far above the martial disciple realm. I can beat 100 trash like you in the 9th heaven of the martial disciple realm. He stretched out a finger and stared at Xiaoping. He sneered. You said that if I want to defeat you, I have to have the ability? Are you kidding me? If the strong in the martial disciple realm don't have the ability, do you think the weak in the martial disciple realm have the ability? To tell you the truth, I only need one finger to defeat you now. In a breath, I can beat you like a dead dog. You won't be able to move your body. Do you know that? Even like this, you still dare to pretend to be calm in front of me. You are simply courting death. With a bang, as soon as the voice fell, the referee immediately rang the competition bell and announced the start of the competition. Go to hell. In an instant, Qin Muyang moved. He could not stand Xia Ping for a second. When he saw this bastard's face, he wanted to immediately beat him into a dead dog. Profound art of the 5 ultimate killing hands, dismemberment of the world. With a slap, true Qi was released. Shockingly, the Qi vibrated and turned into countless blades, cutting through the air. The entire arena seemed to be torn in half by this Qi. Many of the audience were shocked. This was the tyrannical strength of the martial disciple realm. Once true Qi was released, it could split stones and split gold. It could kill the enemy through the air. The attack power was more than 10 times stronger. Now it seemed that it was indeed so. If an expert in the 9th heaven of the martial disciple realm was hit by this palm, it was estimated that his body would be torn apart. Even if he was rescued in time, his lungs would be severely injured and his body would be torn apart. It was like being executed by 1,000 cuts. It would take at least a year of treatment to recover. Boom! As the audience had expected, Xia Ping didn't even have time to react in the face of this palm. The palm landed solidly on his chest. Immediately, a terrifying explosion came from the entire arena. The Qi vibrated, stirring up the sand, covering the sky and the earth. Smoke and dust billowed, and huge cracks appeared on the ground of the arena. The referee next to him was shocked. He wanted to immediately rush up to rescue the contestant and pull Xia Ping out of the arena for emergency treatment. However, before he could do anything, he saw that Xia Ping was still standing intact on the arena, looking at Qin Muyang. Impossible! Qin Muyang stared at Xia Ping in disbelief. You were hit by my 5 ultimate killer hands, a full blow of the 1st heaven of the martial disciple realm. Why didn't you fall? Why didn't you become a dead dog? No, the situation is completely wrong. The script is not written like this. Seeing that Xia Ping was still safe and sound, he couldn't accept such a reality at all. You want to defeat me with such strength? Xia Ping looked at Qin Muyang faintly and said, I have already said that you are not qualified. Even if you advance to the 1st heaven of the martial disciple realm, you are not qualified at all. If you want to defeat me, let your father come over. He was calm and composed. He operated the Dark North body protection skill and was already in an invincible position. If someone wanted to break his defense, they had to be at least in the 2nd heaven of the martial disciple realm. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Qin Muyang roared. His face was ferocious, and his Taoist heart collapsed. He frantically displayed the 5 ultimate killer hands. Countless palms bombarded Xia Ping's body, bursting out a sound like thunder and war drums. But even after dozens of palms, Xia Ping still did not move. Not to mention falling down, he did not even take a step back. Damn it, fall for me, fall for me, fall for me immediately. Qin Muyang shouted frantically. He was crazy. Hurry up and turn to a dead dog. Turn to a dead dog for me. So annoying, get lost. Chapter 157. Boom! Qin Muyang did not expect Xia Ping to suddenly attack. He was caught off guard and was hit by a force of tens of thousands of kilograms. It was as if he had smashed into something and exploded with a terrifying force. With a few cracking sounds, even though he was an expert in the martial warrior realm, he was not invincible. After being hit by such a terrifying force, more than a dozen of his ribs were broken. There was even a clear red palm print on his chest. Ah! Qin Muyang screamed as his body flew backward and hit the ground hard. He slid for more than a dozen meters and reached the edge of the arena. He was one step away from falling off. He was so angry that he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Do you admit defeat? Xia Ping came in front of Qin Muyang and looked down at him coldly and ruthlessly. Admit defeat? I am a disciple of the Qin family and the #1 expert of the Tianshui City's #1 middle school. How could I admit defeat to you? You are dreaming, do you know that? Qin Muyang shouted angrily. He felt as if his heart was being bitten by countless ants. It was really embarrassing. It was him who wanted to beat this guy like a dead dog. But now, he was beaten like a dead dog by this bastard. Just one punch had destroyed all his combat power. He could not bear such humiliation at all. Before the competition started, he did not expect this to happen. He was an expert in the martial warrior realm, but he was no match for this bastard Xiaoping. Xiaoping had destroyed him with one punch. How is this possible? What can you do if you don't admit defeat? Xiaoping looked at Qin Muyang indifferently. Just one move, and you're already crippled. With your current state, how many more moves can you take? Even if you want to show off, you have to look at the situation. Although you used to be the #1 expert of the #1 middle school, that was only in the past. After today, you won't be anymore. You have to accept reality, understand? Hearing this, Qin Muyang was so angry that he exploded. He said angrily, "Accept reality? You are just a piece of trash from a third-rate school. You want to replace me as the #1 expert and defeat me? Are you kidding me? I will never admit this. Never." With a bang, he endured the pain in his body. His whole body was like a spring, filled with explosive power. He immediately jumped up, clenched his fist, and punched towards Xiaoping. Even if he had to exhaust the last of his strength, he would defeat this arrogant bastard and defend his reputation. Fool! Xiaoping didn't even look at Qin Muyang. He suddenly raised his hand and slapped Qin Muyang's face. Qin Muyang was instantly sent flying. Qin Muyang let out a blood-curdling scream. A few of his front teeth flew out, mixed with blood. His body spun a few times in the air like a spinning top. Bang! After that, he fell from the sky and fiercely smashed outside the arena. He was smashed to the point of being dizzy, and even 5 or 6 bones in his body were broken. He was in an extremely miserable state. Do I need you to admit that I can defeat you? You are too arrogant. Xiaoping stood in the arena and looked down at Qin Muyang, who was lying on the ground, unable to move. Remember, keep a low profile in the future. Don't call yourself the #1 expert so easily. Hearing this, Qin Muyang was so angry that he vomited blood. His lungs were about to explode. This bastard had won, but he was still mocking him and telling him to keep a low profile. He was the #1 expert of the first middle school and was invincible. He had always been the one to say such words to his defeated opponents. He had never been spoken to like this before. This was like slapping his face more than a dozen times. His face was swollen. With a slap, Qin Muyang foamed at the mouth. His neck tilted, and his qi and blood rushed to his head. He fainted on the spot. Qin Muyang fell out of the arena. Xiaoping wins. Seeing this, the referee immediately announced the result of the match. He looked at Xiaoping in shock. He had actually defeated Qin Muyang, who had the strength of a martial artist realm, with just one move. This was simply incredible. No way. Xiaoping, that bastard won. Qin Muyang is a martial artist realm expert. He is a martial artist realm expert. What a joke. This joke has gone too far. No matter how I look at it, it's impossible for Qin Muyang to lose. What the hell is going on? Seeing the result of the match, many of the audience were dumbfounded. They could not believe what they saw in front of them. A dignified martial artist realm expert, Qin Muyang, actually lost. Moreover, he did not lose by a single move. He was beaten up and defeated without the strength to fight back. Has anyone seen this before? Has anyone ever seen something like this? A dignified martial artist realm expert could not defeat a martial disciple realm expert. Instead, he was beaten like a dead dog without the strength to fight back. A spectator shouted. He could not accept this fact at all. This was because this scene really subverted everyone's imagination. Normally, there was a huge difference between the martial artist realm and the martial disciple realm. It was simply impossible to win. Normally speaking, it should be Xiaoping who was beaten up like a dead dog. However, the situation was completely different. This kind of battle happened under the eyes of countless spectators and under the high-definition cameras. It was impossible to fake it. My God, This Ping is heaven-defying. It's really heaven-defying. With the strength of the ninth heaven of martial artist, he actually beat Qin Muyang of the martial artist realm like a dead dog. This is simply incredible. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it at all. How can this shameless Xia Ping be so powerful? I don't believe it. Did he drug Qin Muyang? Otherwise, how can the gap be so big? That's no way to fight back. How dare you drug him? Qin Muyang is a child of the Qin family. Who dares to drug him? Who can drug him? There is no doubt that this is the gap in strength. It can't be made up at all. Although this Qin Muyang was promoted to the martial artist realm at the age of 18, this is already a rare genius in 10 years. But what happened to this Xia Ping? Just the ninth heaven of martial artist? He can defeat a martial artist realm expert. Is this a monster? Qin Muyang is really miserable. He was promoted to the martial artist realm and thought that he was invincible. He wanted to defeat Xia Ping in front of everyone's eyes and avenge himself. But who would have thought that he would be beaten so miserably instead? Is there anything more painful than this? It's estimated that this will become a psychological shadow. Many spectators were emotional and shocked. This was a legendary battle. Such a thing had never happened in the 100 years of history of Tianshui City. This was the first time. In previous competitions, there were also some geniuses who were promoted to the martial artist realm. They were invincible and invincible. They easily won the championship of that year and became a legend. But there has never been a powerhouse in the ninth heaven of martial artist realm who easily defeated a powerhouse in the martial artist realm and won the first place in this way.